That courtesy NFL Westwood 100 right here on 92.3 The Fan. Patriots win it 16-3. May pass for 268 yards in that touchdown. New England wins its first playoff game since the 2018 season. In the NFC on Sunday, 49ers win at Philadelphia 23-19. Brock Purdy, 4-yard TD pass to Christian McCaffrey with 2:54 left in the game. And the Niners eliminate the defending Super Bowl champions. However, in the win, 49ers tight end George Kittle suffered a torn right Achilles tendon. On the ice, Cleveland Monsters beat Hershey in overtime 3-2. Wild Card weekend comes to a close tonight. Steelers and Texans live here on 92.3 The Fan. Coverage starts tonight at 7:30. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. On the next half of the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
First and goal at the 1. Allen under center. Gets the snap. The push from Gilliam into the end zone. It's a Buffalo touchdown, and the Bills lead. The push for 6.
Huge play now for San Francisco. 3rd and goal at the 4. Under 3 minutes to play. Shotgun. Purdy takes the snap. Looking. Purdy steps up. Purdy delivers. End zone. Caught. Touchdown. McCaffrey. 49ers go in front.
Off the play fake. May drops back to pass. Henley fell down. May throws to his left. He's got Henry inside the 5 into the end zone. Touchdown Patriots. 28 yards.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of Westwood One. Just when you thought it was dead, they find a way to totally redeem themselves. Oh, it was kind of a poop season up until this weekend. I gotta be totally honest with you. I was watching. I go, "What this is?" I hate it when you guys do it. Well, you watch these other teams are playing a different sport, but these games were. I know we still got one tonight, but my God, these games were fantastic.
I have been down on the NFL a lot this year, and yes, I root for the Browns, and the Browns season was effectively over 5 weeks in. So, obviously, I've been not a happy camper talking, and we're in a big time NFL red meat city where you can't just let the fans down. You can't let the listeners down and just, I'm going to go pay attention to the NBA. It's like, no, our listeners want football. And I was so down on so many weeks, and then week 18 in the NFL was just...
Even though the Cavs had the win of their season over the weekend.
Well, hey.
I thought that was best win of the year. I know that people brought up San Antonio, but I thought that was best win of the year. We'll get to it. I promise we will get to it later on. Go ahead.
So I'm watching this weekend. I'm like, all right, let's get it started thinking that, okay, Carolina will get blown out, and we'll start this whole playoff so I can, take my shots at the NFL. And then every single game was just better and better and better and better up until last night, where no offensive line play. Hey, we've played games without tackles before. Good luck, Justin Herbert.
I'm watching last night. Yeah, you're exactly right about that. It finally caught up to him. And I would say with the injuries, they've had themselves a fine season. The Chargers have, and Justin Herbert's a fine quarterback. But you don't get many of these chances, obviously. When it came to the Bills game, there were so many things I'm going, I would do that different. I would do this different. I think that you and I are probably going to have an argument about scoring later on in that position because I go, man, like there's a minute left to go. You've run him down. I'm like, does Josh Allen really lay down with him? I'm like, man, you can't. You have no idea what's going to happen if it's a botched snap, anything like that. Like, do you try it? Now, there was a tip pass. They got picked off, and that's how the game ended. And that's probably fortunate. But I go, man, you got a minute left to go down there. It's almost like you're playing for overtime then if you score with a minute left to go in the football game. It just seemed like there was going to be that much time. And I thought about it, and then there was the going for it on 4th down when you could have made it a 7-point game if you're Liam Cohen and the Jags. Like, there were so many different things out of that one game. And then you go with the other two where it's like, hey, Matt LaFleur was in line for an extension before this weekend. Now, I think people are going to argue that. And Nick Sirianni's job should probably be in question, considering that he left his offensive coordinator in there the entire season. The offensive coordinator didn't know what was going on. You got into an argument on national television, even though Tom Brady said that they're good friends.
With future Cleveland Brown, A.J. Brown?
With future Cleveland Brown, A.J. Brown, you got into Oh, don't think that can't happen, Owen. I would say it's more than likely.
3 more. He's got 2 more stops before he makes it here.
Oh, okay.
You're really going to let him have 2 more stops in the NFL after all that?
Oh, the NFL will let him have 2 more. Somebody's going to save him, and then he'll come here to get his next, budget for his production company or something.
But they're good friends. They're basically Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr right there.
As it's going down, yeah.
Oh, they're good friends. They really have a great relationship.
They were one glove slap away from a real duel.
It was. The first thing I thought it was Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Like, these guys are going to be good to go. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it at all. But there was a lot of intrigue from the entire weekend. Can I ask you though, right off the rip? One, do you have any thoughts on what I just threw out there? I mean, there was a vomit of things that went on. Before I ask you a real poignant thing,
I just kept thinking, coach-wise, like the Sirianni thing, LaFleur. Hell, if Buffalo would have lost, I was like, are we going to ask the fans if anybody wants McDermott? Is that somebody any fans want? He's had Josh Allen all these years. He was so close to going to the Super Bowl. 13 seconds away or whatever?
We're on the same way.
So I just kept thinking about coaching-wise, who could become available. LaFleur's winning percentage is pretty insane.
Mm-hmm.
And if he became available, I think we would probably be interested.
Well, if he were to become available, because I thought for sure we were going to have ourselves the argument last week where, TA had put out, our buddy TA, where, he's been on the station before and he's one of the advanced analytics people. And he had said that he'd be willing to give up the Jags pick for Matt LaFleur. And I had to pick myself up off the floor. Where there was some people, I thought you would agree considering the Sean Payton stuff, which I was ready for bear on Thursday, and then Friday you were like, nah, I wouldn't do it. I was like, all right, well, I guess we're not going to have an argument here. Now, it doesn't mean about any coach, for the love of God. But I want to break down some of them situations a little bit later on. This is the weird thing that Browns fans are in, is that somebody could get let go because of this weekend. Sirianni could be let go. The Eagles have better ownership and obviously a good general manager than we want to give them credit for, but they are reactionary when it comes to their coaches. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. That meant nothing 2 years later. If Sirianni became available, if McDermott were to become available, like you said, even though they won, so he probably wouldn't be. If LaFleur was to become available, they're going, you know what, we need a change in direction here. I think that there are a lot of people are going, we don't want the butcher's leavings on some of these guys. I'm going, well, they're losing playoff games.
Yeah,
their teams are in the playoffs. I gotta crawl before I walk. So I don't. And depending on some of the other names that we haven't heard, like how good would it be? Like Sirianni. Sirianni talks a lot of trash and talks it to the fans as well. Is that a guy that we would like here? I've been saying we need a leader of men, but obviously he's getting in arguments with his own men. Like, there's a lot to break down on these guys. And if either one of them were to be let go, and then there's the question of tonight, if Pittsburgh loses tonight, I don't think it's going to happen, but we got to be prepared if it does. If Pittsburgh loses tonight, what actually happens after that? Are these guys that it's weird, they lose these high-profile games, and we go, well, we don't want them, but they're in high-profile games. We're not in high-profile games.
Yeah, it seems weird to sit back.
9 o'clock a.m. in England.
Yeah, it seems weird sitting back on the couch and just going, that coach is bad, that coach is bad, that coach is bad.
But we do it.
While we were here a week before all of them.
Because we got, and right now, like you think about it, like I could sit there, we're one of the open jobs. It's pick of the litter time, even though I don't think we're the pick of the litter. We want the very best one we can. Like, there's a lot of people tweeting at me throughout the weekend going, we need to just get John Harbaugh. Stop this foolishness. Stop this stupidity. We need to just get John Harbaugh. I'm like, yeah, I would love to go out and just get John Harbaugh. I can't put a gun to his head and make him sign the contract, though. So we gotta have all the other options. And Sirianni's a name that you like, or a name that you know. McDermott would have been a name that you know. LaFleur, Tomlin, et cetera, and it's like, okay, are all these names that lose in the postseason, are the names that lose in the postseason somehow worse than Adden Dirty, than Nate Scheelhaus, than, well, by the way, congratulations to Lima for breaking that last week, which we have some interesting audio later on. Like, I want to know, like, would you rather go down the unknown path of any of these young guys, because Darryl was the first one to go, hey, man, you can get Nate Schillhouse. You're not bringing Matt Stafford with him. You're not bringing Puka Nacua with him. Totally understood.
And he'll make all his rookie coaching mistakes right here.
Yes. Would you rather go down that road or Sirianni where, Philadelphia fans, they're out for blood.
They said all the coordinators. The only reason, and then this year there was a coordinator drop-off because it was that Patullo as the offensive coordinator, and people have despised him, at the very least, he's going to be gone.
Thank you, Kevin Patullo. Kevin wanted to say Padenta or something else. Patullo. Do you think the Browns... I want to know, could you guys actually reject these names? 216-474-0092. If Sirianni became available, is it John Harbaugh? Probably not. It's hey, go try to do everything you can to get John Harbaugh. If that includes blowing out Andrew Berry, then fine, that includes it there.
Of course, you just feel like he would go to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
If he could. I don't know. They may not be as high on Harbaugh as we are in Cleveland. We're a little more desperate.
I think if I was John Harbaugh, if Green Bay were to open up, I'd rather go with Jordan Love. Sorry. I just think it's a little easier.
Is it not? Did you guys kind of pay attention? There seems to be a little bit of a different thought in Cleveland on Harbaugh and some national guys. There seems to be, not that nobody's saying he's a bad coach or anything like that. But
you getting a Lamar thing here?
Just overall, there were some people that kind of think that the game not has passed him by, but he is not at the forefront anymore of the changes in a game. And that they just haven't really the league hasn't been as in love with Harbaugh as someone like me who's been oh my God, do whatever it takes to get that guy.
Can I just throw one wrench into the Green Bay thing?
Do it.
They don't have first round picks the next 2 years.
Oh.
They traded him for Micah Parsons.
Oh, that's right.
Now they have a much better team, right? And if Micah Parsons gets healthy, you've got one of the top defensive.
If they would have had him, they'd still be, I honestly think they'd still be playing. I don't think Caleb Williams could have pulled off what he was able to pull off in that second half.
Well, Caleb Williams had 15 seconds to throw half the time.
Well, he created some of them seconds.
Yes, he did.
The fourth quarter, my God.
And Micah Parsons is a different style passer. He's a Myles Garrett pass rusher.
I think you guys are right. That would have definitely turned the dial down on him and changed some things. That absolutely would have changed some things there. But I don't want to get into a thing where it's okay, any name we just need to get. You brought up John Harbaugh. I don't think he's going to turn into, and you're not saying this, I don't think he's going to turn into Frank Reich with Carolina where, and Nick would be able to speak better to it than I would. Frank Reich, it seemed that he just, all right, I'll be a head coach, but he didn't seem to really have his heart into it. I thought he did a way, way, way better job, and anybody you talked to did a way better job this time around with Stanford in an interim capacity than he did. He seemed to be having fun. Whereas Carolina, he wasn't having much fun, and it was just, he was taking a job to take a job, and that was basically it. I don't think you would do that with John Harbaugh. I don't think John Harbaugh would allow himself to do something like that. So the game passing people by, I don't know. If they would have been able to if Tyler Loop hits a field goal, what do we say?
Yeah, they're in the playoffs.
Did it really pass them by? Or did you just have a bad season with a lot of injuries? That's the difference.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir with me. I think he is awesome. Obviously, he's not your next head coach for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Even in a good situation, even if he totally turns it around and they find the quarterback or it's Shador, whoever.
I was surprised he was 63, going to be 64 at the beginning of the season, though. Him and Frank Reich are actually the same age.
Yeah.
Around the same age there. But if I just don't want to overthink it. If Sirianni were to become available, it's okay, Sirianni's a possibility. If LaFleur were to become available, okay, LaFleur's a possibility. They're both offensive guys. Mike McDaniel is a good offensive guy. Do you got to air him out? If Mike McDaniel is a possibility
I saw
right
more people
after,
warming
he's
up
going
to
interview
him
today. Well, because if anybody you get, you're going to start thinking about the good things about that guy. You're going to try. If you're a fan. Unless you're going, no, I'm a fan and I think this is going to go terribly and I'll be laughing when it does go terribly. Maybe you're like that, but I think a lot of people, I think the majority of people are going to say, well, McDaniel didn't have a QB. Okay, he ain't necessarily going to have that all set up when he gets here. But, okay, even myself, I go, well, he's really good at scheming scheming run games open. He's very good at that. Now you have to have the quarterback situation that's respected enough so you can scheme open the run game. Now, everything's complementary, but you start to put a smiling face on some of this stuff. So I think that with Sirianni, man, Sirianni does talk a lot of trash, and a lot of people are excited to see him lose. So that might be a little bit of a tougher sell than some. LaFleur, I think, again, your first thought for a lot of fans would be negative, where you go, well, he had Jordan Love. What was he able to do with Jordan Love? Nothing. So why do I want him? Well, I'd like to crawl before we walk here. Let's see what he can do. I'm sure that he made Jordan Love's situation a little bit better during that time.
But remember, he was able to win some games, with the backup.
Yes,
Malik
he was.
Willis.
Which put us in that conversation with him.
Yes, it would.
So do you think any Browns fans would say no? Absolutely. I'm beating around the bush here. Do you think we have a right to say no to any one of those guys if they become available after this weekend?
Like Sirianni, Mount Union guy, won a Super Bowl, and their fans seem to want to run him out of town with pitchforks. Could he come in and I'll tell you, you want really good coordinators no matter who your head coach is. You'd have to have really good coordinators if Sirianni was your coach. I do think people would warm up to just his overall, I don't want to say vibe.
Press conferences would be different.
Yeah, well, it's famously, his first press conference was an unmitigated disaster. Mm-hmm. But the way he talks, the way he sticks his chest out, I think some fans would eat that up.
Unless you're not winning.
Right.
And a lot of people don't expect us to win a lot of games next year. So if you're not winning a lot of games next year, and you saw with Philly, you need a guy to be a little bit braggadocious, and then you start winning, and then that becomes the standard. And then when that's a standard and you fail to hit your standard, well, then it becomes a problem. As you saw with the A.J. Brown stuff yesterday, and all the other, well, he's not really talking now, is he? Because he always has something to say to the fans as he's walking back through the tunnel. 216-474-0092. Could you really reject any of these guys if they got fired over Wild Card Weekend? Could you really do it? And could we be I have a question for Anthony and a question for you as well. Could we be going back to 2019 with the very best of intentions? Ken Carman, Tone Master General. We're live on YouTube for absolutely, positively free. 92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
Ready for some The Fans Night Out at the Wolstein Center as the Vikings host Green Bay with head coach Doug Gottlieb. And it's hosted by yours truly, Ken Carman and Anthony Lima. Arrive early and enjoy $2 beers as part of Hoopy Hour.
Get tickets at CSUVikings.com/tickets. It's all from Cleveland State basketball and Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
$8:20 this morning, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder, going to join us on the show. He has a warning for Browns fans with all these names floating around. Jonathan Jones had a report yesterday that there is mutual interest between John Harbaugh and the Cleveland Browns. Because I think Browns fans and the Browns are very interested in John Harbaugh, but the whole thing was, would John Harbaugh be interested here? If there's mutual interest, then I think you got to... And can anybody at all throw in any sort of a wrench in going after John Harbaugh? I want to know. I won't shout you down. If Owen wants to kick you, then Owen's going to kick you. I'm not in control of that. But is there anybody who's going, don't do that? Any fan, if it didn't work in 3 years, say it didn't work, and we're going, oh my God, we're getting ready to go into this new stadium, and maybe you went, okay, this coming year, maybe you go 6-11, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, okay, we got an 11-5 year, and then the bottom fell out all of a sudden, and then we're back to it, and John Harbaugh's like, you know what, I'm 67, that's it, and that's all. You could say, well, this has been a disaster, quote unquote, but you're going, well, wait a minute, it's John Harbaugh. What did you want him to do? I don't want to be in a situation where they go and they get John Harbaugh. Fans are going to do it no matter what if you don't win. But Tone, and you can tell I'm really amped up right now. I don't want to be in a situation where in 3 years you and I are fielding calls about the Browns, calling them an unserious football team. If they pull out the stops for John Harbaugh. Because John Harbaugh, I think, to the fan base, there's definitely some people outside the fan base who may question him. But I think to the fan base, he brings an instant credibility. And there's few guys in this hiring cycle that are available that would bring an instant credibility going, you know what? We've been rough on the Browns, and rightfully so. They have not been a good franchise. But this was a serious move for a serious football man, and they're showing us that they are serious about winning. Now, you and I will look at it and go, well, they've made other moves that might be a little bit irresponsible, but you could certainly look at them and say they're serious about winning. But there's so many people go, you're an unserious franchise. You're an unserious football team. Is there anybody at all in Northeast Ohio, if they were going to go, you know what, we did what we needed to do. We backed up the Brinks truck. We gave them power. We're bringing in John Harbaugh. He's signing with the Cleveland Browns. Would there be anybody out there that hates this? I'm trying to look into a crystal ball. I had another question for you, but I just don't see there being a negative to bringing in John Harbaugh for fans.
There's no way you could go that route at all. You can say what you want about his age or whatever. And then you just saw, Michigan hired Kyle Whittingham at his age. Right. So this is a spring chicken comparatively.
Uh-huh.
And the one thing I thought sometimes, Kenny, and you'll laugh at this, you try to play these mind games. You try to sit back, relax. I'm doing yoga on the mat, Kenny. I sit there and I contemplate and I go, could I ever envision a world where I come on the radio after a season is over and I go, well, John Harbaugh just had his worst year as NFL head coach, just 4 wins with the Cleveland Browns. I can't envision that.
No.
I cannot envision ever saying John Harbaugh only wins 4 or 5 games in his worst years.
That's a great point.
He had 3 years consecutively where he did not make the playoffs, and his job was in jeopardy right at the end of the Flacco run, I think it was.
Yeah, 2018.
And his job was in jeopardy. He was on the hot seat because he had won a Super Bowl, and they had not seen a world. Remember, they had Billick before. They had not been in a world where they don't make the playoffs 3 straight years. And then they stumbled upon Lamar Jackson, and then they won games again at a very high clip, which is what he's basically done his entire career.
And think about it now. You could say Ozzie or Eric DeCosta or whatever. I'm not sure what the timelines make. I mean, DeCosta was in the front office at that time too. So give Ozzie credit, whoever. I mean, they moved back into the first round, if I'm not mistaken, to go after Lamar Jackson. So there was that move to go get him, and then I didn't think he would turn out quite like he's turned out. I mean, he's been an MVP twice over. I mean, he's been fantastic. So you're right about that. But I want to make sure that all our ducks are in a row, because if Jonathan Jones is right, and Jonathan Jones is connected, if he's writing that there's mutual interest between the Browns and John Harbaugh, I think Browns fans going, okay, then what's in the way? I don't want to hear anything about anything in the way. If you get the man in the room, make sure he signs on the line, which is dotted. You guys are billionaires, throw your money at him. $20 million, I don't care. $25 million, I don't care. It ain't my money. Go sign the guy. Andrew Berry's a sticking point, get rid of him. Don't care. It's John Harbaugh. Like, it would be something that would be taken seriously by Browns fans, that you have put in a serious ass effort into going out and winning.
We'd have to wow him. We said if Harbaugh is interviewing for the job and truly contemplating it, like when he comes into Berea or you go to where he is, who's interviewing who?
It would be John Harbaugh interview. Pat Kerwin had said it, former scout,
right.
Current personality, says that John Harbaugh is interviewing the owner.
So if you pass that interview, if he chooses you, then holy cow, like you'd feel instantly better about everything in this town.
I also thought that there's something else to this, where Jay Glazer had mentioned something on Fox. Do we have audio here of Jay Glazer? Here's Jay Glazer. Now, I'm going to let you guys know this. I might be reading too much into this, but I'm trying to avoid pitfalls of mistakes that we've made in the past. Go ahead and hit this Jay Glazer clip.
Cleveland Browns. They're being told, all candidates, that they want to keep Jim Schwartz in there as the defense coordinator. However, they did interview him interviewing him for head coach Todd Monken, former Ravens offense coordinator. He is interviewing for them today as well.
So that's audio courtesy of Fox, by the way.
Correct. That was part of a whip around, and it was just him confirming Browns want to keep Jim Schwartz as part of the organization. He did interview for the head coach. So
if you're Jim Schwartz, now I'm trying not to do this. I'm not saying that would be. I'm not trying to say that it's going to turn into 2019's disaster. What 2019 was. I mean, you have to have somebody. And God love Freddie, fun guy, just wasn't prepared to be a head coach. Did not have his organization correct. But you knew that Todd Monken knew that, and they fought all year long on that offense. That Todd thought it should have been a different way. Freddie fought about it. Now I'm talking about a defensive guy here. But you want to keep Jim Schwartz no matter what. You give him a head coaching interview. How serious that is, I'm not sure. I told you, I always get a little bit leery about the two guys in one day thing. But, hey, you know what? They have known him for 3 years. Maybe there's something there to it. You have something to interject real quick?
Well, I just wondered, do you think Jim Schwartz wants to be a head coach again? Or do you think he's
would he take the interview?
With being a defensive
Would he take the interview?
I think you have to if it's offered to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't think you can go, it's not for me.
Oh, I think you can.
I think you have to take an NFL head coaching interview if you get one offered to you.
But you're 59 years old. Do you have to?
Yeah.
Really?
There's not that many.
Well, they're not going to fire him if he didn't take it.
There's 32,
I understand where you're coming from, but he's 59. Like, I think he's pretty secure.
You have to let the rest of the league know that people are interested in you. And, if things don't work out in Cleveland and I don't get retained, we can talk, but
it's also been 13 years since he's been a head coach.
Yeah.
So,
and I go back to he went to Philly. He had health problems.
Yeah.
He got out of the NFL. Vrabel brought him into Tennessee as he was coming in a day a week just because he was, in the area, and it was something to help him stay around the game. He didn't want to leave at the time, but he couldn't take on the responsibilities of it. And I'm not saying that the difference in responsibilities between defensive coordinator or time responsibilities between defensive coordinator and a head coach are that much different, right? I would hope my D coordinator is still spending 12 hours in the building every day, but it is different responsibility-wise for a guy who's done it before and knows what he's stepping.
Man, I don't think it, but you say that, but it's like, okay, just the Browns are interested in him being a head coach. Like, I haven't heard about, in the words of Greg Williams, I haven't seen a bunch of head coaching slips.
He got 11
that have
slips,
been turned
man.
in. He had 11 slips. Jim doesn't have 11 slips. We like Greg Williams, okay? But that was a funny line. Let's be serious.
I'd bring him back.
A very bizarre yet entertaining time in our Browns' lives.
Yes, and serious football person. I say that lovingly. He was a fun guest, and his son's a fun guest, and everything's great.
His son he's a good follow. I follow him on X, and yesterday he threw his name in the ring.
Oh, you don't just follow him down the street in Bay Village?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Just walk him down the street, walk with him down the street, just ask him, like, hey, you want to be a head coach of the Browns? Why wouldn't you want to be a head coach of the Browns? Well, okay, but if Jim actually were to accept the interview, all right? Like, I didn't want to bog it down too much. If you go and you bring in John Harbaugh, it's like, all right, Jim Schwartz with John Harbaugh sounds like a dream team for a lot of people. John Harbaugh's been doing it a long time. Instant respect. If you go and you bring in one of the other names, and Jim was sincerely interested in being the head coach, but you bring in one of the young names, could you be setting yourself up a little bit? I'm just asking, man. That's all I'm doing is asking. We have nothing but time, so your brain runs and you ask questions. Could you be setting up for 2019? Where, like, Jim has laid out what he would do in that interview as the head coach. You brought in John Harbaugh. It's like, hey, it's John Harbaugh. Super Bowl winning head coach, very successful head coach. Ain't no one getting in the way of him. You bring in one of the other names that aren't necessary, especially like if you're bringing like Chris Shula, who's a defensive guy. If you were to bring in one of those other names, would there be some sort of friction? Do you think you run the risk of friction?
It is. I know we got to go. It is hard for me to envision a world where, he interviews for the head coaching job, doesn't get it, but is like eager to be the defensive coordinator for the guy that beats him out for the job, regardless of if it's offense or defense, especially more if it's defense. I mean, if they go and hire a defensive guy, it surprised me a little bit. It would also.
I'm just thinking of a different name. That's all.
But it would also. Brian Flores was another one who we don't even know if they're going to be able to. If there's going to end up being an interview, right? Because their season's over.
Yeah.
Why haven't we heard Brian Flores?
Haven't heard it at all.
So maybe they have zero interest in him, or maybe the league has zero interest in him. Maybe the temperature's still too hot from the lawsuit and everything that was said about his time in Miami. I'm just saying it's hard for me to consider that Jim Schwartz could be a defensive coordinator in that situation.
Do you think that they would have asked him in an interview? Are there names that you absolutely cannot work with?
Ooh.
And if you have names that you absolutely cannot work with, tell me in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Nobody may.
Exteriors. Roofing, siding, windows done right.
Warm up your home this winter with a brand new roof from Home Genius Exteriors. Get 50% off materials plus no interest and no payments till 2027. Call Home Genius Exteriors now at 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. See website for details.
Don't trust anybody with your Cavs coverage unless they have sports in their name. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I want to get to something of whether or not we're trying to outsmart ourselves here coming up in a moment. I did ask you, like, Jim Schwartz is a fountain of information, I think, for the Browns about their locker room, about the direction the franchise is headed. I mean, the man's been in the NFL for a long time. I mean, he was an assistant with you way back in the day. There's a lot of information you can get from Jim Schwartz. And I just look at the 2019 situation going, if you get one of these guys that not a lot of people have heard the name of, like, we'll play the Shieldhouse audio coming up here in a little bit where it was announced on the station. Well, if you listen to the show
it's breaking news,
yeah. You knew that Shieldhouse was going to be a name that was going to be brought up, but I'm not going to play it yet. Guys, you got to listen to all 4 hours.
I didn't hear the name Shieldhouse at all yesterday.
No. Wait until 7. I'll play it at 7. The announcement that they're wanting to interview Nate Shieldhouse, because it's
one of the defining moments in this station's history when it comes to breaking news.
Some of the greatest audio ever.
Oh boy!
It is right up to me. I was sitting at a wrestling tournament yesterday, a wrestling meet yesterday. I haven't laughed that hard about something on the air since, hey, this is Lawrence. Like, I have not laughed that. It was right up there with Scotty, my man. It was, to me, it was right up there.
What is up, Scotty? What's up, my man?
Baby.
So Lawrence. Yeah, Lawrence here.
It was right up there with it. That's at 7:02. Schwartz can be a mountain of information for you. And I'm just trying to make sure, because, again, we got nothing but time, and this is what I hate about coaching searches, you start to think too much. You think too much. Like Keith texted us, hey, in that article, it said that the Giants and somebody else are the favorites. I go, yeah, but it says that there's mutual interest with the Browns. Nothing should be stopping you from getting John Harbaugh. But we don't know. So if you have Jim Schwartz, is there a possibility where you go, hey, we love you no matter what. We're going to keep you as DC no matter what. It seems that it's a prerequisite to any of the guys, like, hey, you got to keep Jim Schwartz. So if that were the prerequisite to it, do you think that there's names there that he just would, not that or that you're saying that he hates Nate Shieldhouse or anything like that, but do you think that could be a possibility where they're like, no, you can't interview these guys? So I would think that wouldn't they be Jim Schwartz approved in so many ways?
Schwartz has been around the league long enough to where they're vital to have guys like that. Remember when the Browns had Al Saunders, right? Friend of the show, he's been on the show. It always helps. I remember, when I was covering the New York Jets back in the Cortland days when they were doing training camp and they had HBO and they had, the former, who's the Nebraska head coach, was with the Raiders, one of the older guys. Anyway, he was there too. Like, these teams all like to have guys like that. And when the team like the Browns are in a transitional situation, I think somebody like Jim Schwartz to have there to talk as a conduit to the rest of the league, like to be able to know the ins and the outs of these things, so they know, not only does Jim Schwartz know the league, know what kind of a locker room you need, the difference between winning organizations, losing organizations, but I imagine he is so knowledgeable and could be influential in a search. The problem is, does he want to be here working for one of those young upstarts?
Well, I told you about this. I mean, one of the best coaching things that I think we've ever seen, and it's led to a mountain of success in its own right, was Wade Phillips basically being the head coach of the defense and bringing along Sean McVay. Sean McVay we brought this story up numerous times. Sean McVay sat on that equipment box with quarterbacks while the defense was on the field, and Wade Phillips basically took over operations during that first couple of years. And then Wade Phillips, he's an older man. He eventually stepped away, and Sean McVay was able to take over the entire thing. Could you see? Now, I don't think Jim Schwartz is interested. I don't want to turn into he's changing new coaches' diapers or anything like that. But do you think Jim Schwartz could be seen in a similar fashion? Like, okay, you want to bring in a young guy, 35, 33. We're hearing some of these names. These are young guys in this profession still. You want to bring along one of these young guys. Do you become the head coach of the defense? And also, I want to ask Jim Schwartz, where do we avoid the pitfalls? Because we knew this, that there were guys on that defense, major names, which basically is the entire defense, that resented what was going on in the offense. Maybe not the players, but the planning that was going on. How do we avoid this situation, Jim, where there's dissension amongst the ranks with one of the elite defenses in the NFL?
Well,
elite. Use the word. Elite defenses in the NFL. How do we make sure that doesn't happen again with the next guy?
You know for a fact, Jim Schwartz, and I know you got your scout team or whatever as you're trying to prepare the offense to get ready. You know for a fact, Jim Schwartz is sitting there. He had a game plan against a Green Bay, a playoff team, a Chicago, a playoff team, Buffalo, playoff team, right? All these different teams. He had a game plan against them. You know for a fact, he's like, what if I had this Browns offense to game plan for a week? And if you're Jimmy Haslam, you're not picking his brain when you kind of in the back of your mind know you're moving on from Stefanski.
What would you do against Shedeur Sanders?
Right. I mean,
what would you send at him?
Honestly, that all is valuable information. I would just be surprised if that just came up now. I would think overall they've known, let's be honest, they've known for about a month there was a divorce coming.
Yeah.
And at that point, you got to start to Jimmy Haslam. When Mitchell Schwartz last week talked about this, we had Rodney McLeod on at the end of the year, or last year when he was in studio with us talking about this. Jimmy Haslam brings a lot of guys in the office and asks, what do you think? What do you think?
Right.
And I actually think that's a good thing. I know some people say, well, you're getting too many opinions. You know what? No. You need to absorb all of that. You got to find out how a locker room feels. You got to find out how players feel, especially your Joel Bitonio's.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine if Joel Bitonio's played his last game, you don't think Jimmy Haslam is going to try to mine as much information from him as possible?
Yeah. I think that there's
on coaches
a guy. Well, yeah, and there's also a guy like Joel Bitonio has no reason to toe company lines anymore, or to
you're getting
give him
an honest assessment,
to just give him the answer he wants to give. I don't think Joel's been in that position probably for a long time. I think that it's always been just give me the truth of how you see it, and we'll see where it goes. I think Joe was the same way. I think Rodney's was that way when he was here
because he's been in other organizations.
Yeah, I think Miles could be that way. That's why I was like, well, let's see what he thinks about the next head coach spot. Maybe who knows? Maybe Miles is that passionate about Jim Schwartz. He wanted to make sure that they gave Jim Schwartz an interview because Miles seems to really, 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 really like Jim Schwartz in that defense. Wouldn't you if you were setting sack records for crying out loud and actually being allowed to move around the defense? So I think that those things are possibilities. I just want to make sure Jim Schwartz is respected throughout this, and we don't find ourselves slipping back into things that we have done before. Like 2019. Unmitigated disaster in so many ways. Now, those were both offensive guys, Monken and Kitchens, who didn't get along and wanted to see things going differently. I can't see a scenario where a defensive guy comes in, especially if we're taking Jim Schwartz's, hey, you're the defensive coordinator unless you're the head coach. We're keeping you no matter what. So to me, it does kind of look at you're probably going to go offensive guy, and you're probably going to go younger offensive guy. Is that not true? Is that kind of where they're looking? Because John Harbaugh is John Harbaugh. You get John Harbaugh in a meeting, I encourage them to pull out all the stops and go after John Harbaugh and give him whatever he wants. I can't see anything negative out of that. But if you can't get John Harbaugh, if he just goes, you know what, this is just not a situation I necessarily want, then you're going to have to find somebody who necessarily wants it. Now, won't you?
What's interesting is we just saw how quickly an organization and an ownership group can pivot from a plan. So we go into this process and we keep Andrew Berry, say goodbye to Kevin Stefanski, and then we come on the radio, fans, they listen, they go on the Reddit threads, they go on social media, they give their thoughts all based on, hey, this is our setup.
Mm-hmm.
Miami, they were doing that too when it was, hey, Mike McDaniel is going to help pick the next GM. And
you could reverse it.
And then what happened?
Or if you go out and you get a guy like John Harbaugh, let's be serious about this, is that he adds credibility to everybody. And if you keep Andrew Berry, if John's like, I want to work with Andrew Berry, I don't think they should use the term thought partner.
No.
Because that term is basically a 4-letter word for everybody now. But if he goes, you know what, I've liked this young man for a long time. He's a young man to John Harbaugh. I've liked this young man for a long time. He's got a great reputation around the league. I want to work with this guy. I think that John Harbaugh's words, I think they lend instant credibility to Andrew Berry. I think if Jim Schwartz were to say the same thing,
wouldn't it?
I think it would help. I think it would help with the credibility. Yes, I think it would be a vote of confidence because there's not very many Browns fans that trust Andrew Berry. And if John Harbaugh were to line up and go, no.
Well, if you saw those
this
two,
guy's got it.
If you saw those two on the stage,
you feel a lot better.
And then Harbaugh's talking about, yeah, we actually have a prior relationship. Who knows? I have no idea. But all of a sudden, I think a bunch of fans would be like, hey, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10 before that, my trust of Andrew Berry was a 3 or a 4, and it got up to there thanks to that nice draft. But then if you have John Harbaugh signing off on that relationship and whatever the power structure is, I think that changes everything.
216-474-0092. I want to ask you, could we be trying to be too smart for our own good based on a game that we saw yesterday in the playoffs? And if you can't even say his name, probably means he's going to be your next head coach. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, the dangerous one. Daryl Ryder, 821 on the Fan with a warning for Browns fans.
It's Anthony Lima for Vans.
with Matt LaFleur, that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. If we are just waiting for we don't get the guy, but we get the guy after the guy, that's not bad for me.
I think the obvious win, the clear win, is get John Harbaugh. The only way the Browns can really let me down on this is if they just don't try and open that door.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Lima Likes coming up at 7:45. Before we play this stunning audio that is right up there with Scotty, my man. 1 minute left to go in that Bills game yesterday. Are you telling Josh Allen to fall on it? You got to score. Because it almost looked like they carried him across the goal line to get the ball back. That's kind of how I interpreted it. We got a clip. Go ahead.
First and goal at the 1. Allen under center. Gets the snap. The push from Gilliam into the end zone. It's a Buffalo touchdown, and the Bills lead. The push for 6.
Audio courtesy of Westwood 1.
So the whole lead up to it, I'm sitting there going, all right, they've been able to get a yard whenever they've wanted with Josh Allen.
6'5".
Which, ironically, they couldn't do against Kansas City the last time they played in the playoffs. They couldn't get a yard. This seemed, even though, Jacksonville's got a stout defense all year, in this game, when Josh Allen needed to get it, I felt like he could at any time. And so I was wondering, are they going to talk about this on the broadcast? Because that wasn't Jim Nance and Romo, was it?
No.
Was that Ian Eagle? No, on TV, on the TV version.
Nance and Romo, I think, was the Bills game.
I watched so much over the weekend that I couldn't remember who was who. So I was wondering if they were going to openly talk about whether or not it was a good idea to let them score, or whether the Bills should not try to score, which is tough because you want to surge ahead. You want to take the lead. You're down 4. You need a touchdown. And I thought, was there a way?
Yeah, it was Tony Romo.
Okay, was there a way that he could take the snap, but you don't want to go backwards? The absolute last thing you can do is go backwards, because then it takes the sneak out of the equation. Now you got to run real football plays. And when you're running real football plays down there with the game on the line, I mean, all of a sudden everything comes into play, and you could lose the game just like that, and you could be bounced.
I thought I saw a lot of that sentiment, and I understood it. Usually this becomes an argument of intelligence. I actually thought it was it would be a decent enough plan in theory about having him kind of take a dive and trying to stay around the goal line.
Right.
If there's a guy,
it's easier said than done.
Well, if there's a guy who could physically do it, it might be him. But you're so close. You can't guarantee what's going to be. Like, I start thinking of all the right moves with a botch snap. Like, you don't know what's going to happen with the snap. You have no idea. You have a chance. I know your defense isn't the greatest defense in the NFL. It's certainly not the worst defense in the NFL, for crying out loud. Like, yeah, them's the breaks. Like, you would like to be in a position where you could pick and choose when you score, but you're still down a touchdown, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get in. So, yes, it would have been a lot easier had there been 40 seconds left to go or 30 seconds left to go, and you're like, all right, we're going to leave it with 27 seconds left on the clock, and we're going to see where this goes.
I'm not sitting there with a rooting interest. I didn't gamble. I didn't bet on the game, and maybe I would feel differently if I was actually a Jacksonville fan. But when he scored on that play, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
He just scored and left you a minute on the clock or whatever it was. I was like, that's best case scenario, because I was envisioning ways that they could run the clock down, and then that's just the game, and then he scores a touchdown on third down.
A lot of people were thinking the same thing.
You don't want to do it on fourth. That's the difference. You can't wait all the way to fourth down, because that's
what I'm saying. It's the same thing of pressure. So I can't be it's hard to pick and choose when you're going to score in a football game.
I know there's 22 men on the field.
If you could pick and choose when you could have scored, you could have scored a lot sooner and had the lead.
You would have done that all game.
So I thought it'd be too difficult to do, and it's like, hey, you know what? He scored when he scored. It ended up working out in the Bills' favor because there was a pick. But
so anticlimactic the way that he comes down and immediately.
I did. I felt screwed by that.
Well, all you see in the NFL are teams moving the football easily down the field on a last drive, because the defenses get a little more conservative. They give more open pockets because they don't want anything to go behind.
I was like, this Cam Little guy, I was like, I want to see this guy hit a 69-yarder to put this game into overtime, and I felt like I got screwed by the outcome. And I wanted the Bills to win. I want the Bills to win the Super Bowl. I'm on record for that. But I was like, man, I think we got kind of screwed out of that inning because of the tip pass that ended up being a pick. More on Liam Cohen, the head coach of the Jaguars, coming up here in a little bit. 216-474-0092. If you can't say the guy's name, it's probably going to be a guy who you're going to name your head coach. At least that's how you remember Mike Pettin, and people kept calling him Patton the night that it's like, hey, they're going to go pick this guy up, or Patine, or Patina, or whatever. And I remember that, and last week, the name Nate Shieldhouse got brought up. Now, he wasn't an official interview, and it's basically because I opened my stupid mouth to Tone, and then Tone blattered it out on the radio at the end of a show, and it's like, okay, I guess keep an eye on Nate Shieldhouse, even though his name hasn't been really brought up. And then over the weekend, yesterday, Adam Schefter announced that the Browns are going to be looking to interview Nate Shieldhouse after the Rams had won on Saturday, and here was the announcement on the Fan.
We've got one more name to add to our list here. Oh, boy. Little bit of breaking news from
here we go.
ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Cleveland Browns have now requested a head coach interview with Rams pass game specialist Nate Shalassi.
Oh, baby.
So not their offensive coordinator, but their pass game specialist.
Daryl's reaction.
Is Matthew Stafford coming with him?
Is Puka Nacua?
Yeah, are we getting Puka Nacua in this deal too?
I'll take Devontae Adams. He's a bit old. Andrew Berry loves trading for the older receivers. Could we restructure some of those void years on the Devontae Adams contract? Get him up in here?
216-474-0092. Browns coach search 2026 has added another name. That name is... That's your cue, Nick.
Nate Shalassi.
No, didn't get it.
It is great to hear Daryl when they host together with Nick Pidone. The chemistry is amazing, but especially when Daryl is teaching him how to do radio every segment.
Was it the Cade York scenario when I did 4D chess, laser eyes, Barry, and you thought it was a real big thing, and I was being sarcastic with like thinking they let go of Cade York, if I'm not mistaken. And I said, or no, when he brought him back to the practice squad, that's it. When they brought back Cade York to the practice squad, and I was saying 4D chess, Andrew Berry does it again. That was sarcasm. Daryl, listen to Daryl's voice as if we're actually interviewing John Gruden.
Oh, boy.
Daryl!
Oh, baby.
So if you end up... and
Nate Shalassi.
I like Pidone, and I like Daryl. But if you can't pronounce the guy's last name, that means he's probably going to end up being your head coach.
Shalassi.
Because now you've given people... Now I can't even... Once I've heard it that way, now it's hard for me to actually say Shieldhouse the way it was supposed to be said.
Shalassi.
Sweet, sassy Shalassi. If you have the chance... This is how people are going to see it. You guys know this. If you have the chance to hire John Harbaugh... and then you hire Nate Shieldhouse Shalassi, it's probably not going to go over too well. Wouldn't you say? Except if you have Jim Harbaugh as a defensive coordinator, maybe it helps out a little bit.
They would. You mean Schwartz? If they would have Schwartz as a defense. You said Harbaugh.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Jim Schwartz as the defensive coordinator.
They would get crushed. Look,
I call him Schwartzy.
I'm sure if you go back,
Schwartz.
Dan Campbell got crushed. Nick Sirianni got crushed. We might be talking about Nick Sirianni again. So I don't know what the sentiment was when Sean McVay got hired. I'm sure.
I think there were some people that certainly questioned it and thought it was too soon, and that he hadn't earned it, quote unquote. Yeah. But obviously, that's gone out the window now.
So I think most teams in situations like that, if it's not a proven guy or a big name, that's what happens. Hey, when Jacksonville hired Urban Meyer, I mean, that was met with a lot of eye rolls.
Well, yeah, I eye rolled it. You thought it was going to work out. It was one of the few things I'm actually right about.
I think it just needed to go longer than a year. There are only a few names where I think Browns fans will be like, yes. And I think it's Harbaugh.
Then I think Schwartz to a degree.
What if LaFleur? I mean, LaFleur is another one. I think
they should. I think they should. If LaFleur or Sirianni were to be let go,
he has a proven track record to ton of wins.
I understand. It's like, well, these guys can't get it going with the quarterbacks that they have. They're going to the playoffs. They're losing playoff games.
And it gets hard. All these games go right down to the wire in the playoffs.
We want to get to the playoffs. So, yes, I do think that one team's trash can be another team's treasure. That's why they're lining up around the corner to interview Kevin Stefanski, and he's going to basically have the pick of the litter other than John Harbaugh here.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, you could sit there and say all the nasty things in the world. I think there's a lot that's put into a name. And if it were Shieldhouse, and Shieldhouse ends up sucking up the room with this football team, which is obviously a possibility, considering they just had to move on from a head coach, and it still seems like they aren't going to have that much talent on their football team in 2026, then yeah, people are going to be calling up and saying his name messed up and calling him steeplechase and calling him Shalassi and all the other things that have been said. So yeah, there is a lot in a name. Now, I don't want to say just because Nick and Daryl can't pronounce his name doesn't mean he's going to be a bad coach. He can end up being the next best thing. But I think for a lot of fans, it's going to be an uphill battle, an uphill sell where you don't trust the people in charge. You don't trust the general manager making the pick. What I'm saying is just facts of how the vast majority of Browns fans feel. If you brought in John Harbaugh, if you kept Jim Schwartz, gave him the bump, I think Sirianni, yes, would take a little bit of a sell. LaFleur would take a little bit of a sell, but I think it's a much easier sell than anybody else out there. I mean, these are guys who have been to the playoffs multiple times. One of them's won a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. The other one has had a lot of success with two different very good quarterbacks. One was definitely a question in Jordan Love. He's had a lot of success with him. I think it should go without saying. But yeah, if you bring in Nate Shieldhouse, if you bring in Adden Dirty, if you bring in one of the other younger names that are, Adden Dirty's 46, but if you bring in one of the more unknown names, yeah, it's not going to go over as well. 216-474-0092. We got some people want to get. I'm going to get to you guys coming up. Also, the Cavs had the win of the season. That coming up at Lima Likes. And I've doubled down on stupidity before. And I'm going to do it again in 5 minutes on the Fan.
XTENDAV.com. I doubled down on my setup watching football all weekend long. And for once, I wasn't kicked out to go into the other room with the frame TV. No, I stood there.
You stayed.
I stood firm. Mason is starting to get a little easier.
You stood your ground.
Ways.
Okay.
Now he has breached the gate. Folks, the gate has been breached.
What is that?
And so it opens up the whole house to him. He knows how to
he knows how to open the
navigate
gate? Well, then just get rid of the baby gate.
Yeah. Now we're done. Now we're done with the gate.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm sorry. And if he topples down the steps, he topples down the steps.
That's the way it goes.
Either way, maybe we'll have home video of that. That, of course, we can cast up on that smart TV, 85 inches, and I can watch my kid topple down the stairs.
One day, my son, he was upstairs, and he threw a
eliminates the defending Super Bowl champs. However, in the win, 49ers tight end George Kittle suffered a torn right Achilles tendon. On the ice, Cleveland Monsters beat Hershey in overtime 3-2. Wildcard weekend comes to a close night. Steelers and Texans live here on 92.3 The Fan. Coverage time starts at 7:30. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Lima Lakes at 7:45. I thought it was the win of the season over the weekend for the Cleveland Cavaliers over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Sat in my office, watched that game. Just was surprised at how they played. First off, I watched the Prime broadcast. Stan Van Gundy doesn't get enough credit for how good he is. Stan Van Gundy's great. But
Eric Collins, Cleveland's own.
I was just surprised at how they just kept their foot on the gas. And immediately people are going, "Oh yeah, you had to score 150 points to do so." I was like, "Yeah, I know the defense is waning. We gotta get the offense going. The shooting has been terrible this year." Go ahead.
Well, your perimeter defense can be bad if you're going to score 100.
Yeah, if you're going to score, if you can actually hit your shots, but they got to start hitting shots. I mean, good God, they saw the discrepancy. They showed the side-by-side last year to this year where they were with three-point shooting. What, they're 19th in three-point shooting? And
that's a big improvement of where they were.
I know it's live and die by the three, but I didn't know it was that glaring, for the love of God. And then, I started to think, are we doing too much on the blaming of Kenny Atkinson on some of the other stuff? Because I think that there's going to be a different conversation about him as time goes on. But I thought it was the win of the year for the Cavs. I know that some people brought up San Antonio. It's like, yeah, you beat San Antonio, but then you had all this other poop after it. So if you guys go out and you suck up the room after this win against Minneapolis or against Minnesota, then yeah, maybe there's going to be another best win of the season coming up. But there's going to have to be a time where you hit the gas, and I'm hoping that this is the time where you beat a really good basketball team at home. And I hope that this is the time where you start to get going. Like, you got Utah tonight, you're at Philadelphia later on this week. Like, I hope this is the time you really start to get moving here. I don't want to pussyfoot around this. I'm going to say it right now. I've doubled down on stupidity before, and damn it, I'm going to do it again. The object of the game is to win. Now, I didn't say that I would get mad if they lost. But immediately, when Fernando Mendoza basically set the Oregon Ducks on fire on Friday night, my mentions were a mess, and they were tweeting at you and me. They were going after you and me. Well, they were going after me. Champions pose for tone. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to double down on stupidity again. I don't root for teams to lose. I'm not going to root for them to lose. I didn't say I'd been mad if they had lost to the Steelers and the Bengals. But I'm not going to pull for a pro team to lose. No, it's not going to happen.
Now, would you have if
and I'm
Mendoza
not mad at them for winning?
Would you have if Mendoza had been considered generational talent, Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck? Because he is not. He's not Caleb Williams. There's been a debate on if he's even Cam Ward. The way that the analysts kind of some say he is, some say he isn't.
Listen, he seems to be such a nice young man.
Seems unflappable. That's what I'm impressed by.
Exactly. He's obviously good in the media. He's cutting a wrestling promo every time he's up there, and it's always eat your vegetables and take your vitamins and all the other stuff. Like, there's lots of good about Fernando Mendoza. And yes, I know if we would have lost the last two games, we'd have the number one overall pick and all this, that,
let's be clear. Hold on, let's be clear. Just before anybody launches into whatever revisionist history, we don't know if we would have the number one pick because the Raiders. Oh, and your team played the Raiders in the final week. Had they have had the Browns to battle with, had the Browns have lost to Pittsburgh, who would the Raiders have trotted out there against that Chiefs team?
That would have been. I mean, it was already a game played in not literal mud, but proverbial mud, right?
Because the Raiders then would have been compelled to tank that final game, which they were not.
That would have been a 7-6 ball game.
You're kind of giving me an out here, and I still can't accept it because Pete Carroll's their coach. I don't think Pete Carroll's going to lay down for anybody.
No, he's not.
Especially considering that was probably his last ever game as an NFL head coach.
That's a good point.
I don't think he was going to lay down for anything. So you probably would have said to hell with you if Mark Davis probably would have had to fire him beforehand if he really wanted to do it, because I think that he would have just told Mark Davis to stick it. So I'd love to give myself an out here. I'm not going to do it. I was happy that the Browns beat the Steelers. I was happy that they beat the Bengals. I'm not going to back off on them doing it. Like, they got the number 1 overall pick before. They went 0-16 before. And they still found a way to mess all that up in the grand scheme of things. So I can't say that they would have been able to get, if they would have got number 1 overall, you know damn well you would have been nervous. Now, that's not to say that Shador's better than Fernando Mendoza or anything. No, Fernando Mendoza is probably going to be a better NFL quarterback. I don't know how much better, but we'll find out.
As a prospect.
As a prospect, whatever. But damn it, man, like, I'm not going to do this. I saw all this crying and whining from some of these media members in Cleveland. I'm going, guys, you sit there and you call the Browns not serious. You say all these terrible things, and then so you would have been excited if they would have went out there and just rolled over and lost. Is that really what you would have been? Like, there were some media members that go, "You're lying to yourselves right here in real time. I know you. Your readers know you better than that. Your viewers, your listeners know you better than that. You are not sincere with what you're saying. You're just pissed in the moment because of what's going on." It was a tremendous game by Indiana. It was a tremendous game by Fernando Mendoza. I'm not taking anything away from that, but that to me is complete and utter bull, and I don't care whoever hears it. I'm talking about media members who are sitting there trying to fan the flag. You are not. Anthony Lima is not. You have told the truth the entire time. You have wanted them to lose games before for the betterment of the draft. I'm not arguing with you, but there's some people out there I saw on Friday go, you are not being honest with your people.
Are you going to tell people what you wrote in the chat?
Which one?
We end up getting Arch.
Thank you for bringing that up. I'll be on the record about it.
This is great.
I want to make sure I read exactly what I wrote in here. Hold on.
Because give me
some time.
We've gotten into these fights before about to tank or not to tank. Obviously, it definitely helped the Cavs. One year, I know the NFL and the NBA are not remotely the same. One player can change so many things.
If we end up getting Arch Manning because of the Steelers and Bengals wins, if we somehow get our way into getting Arch Manning, I will get those final scores of the Steelers and Bengals game tattooed somewhere on my person. I don't know where. I don't know how big. I will get those. If we have Arch, I'm telling you guys this right now. I don't have any tattoos. I went through a phase I thought about it, but I never did it. At 7:28 on January 12th, 2026, if this Browns team in 2027, he could end up being great. He could end up sucking up the room. I don't care. Obviously, Jimmy Haslam would like Arch Manning. I think a lot of people like Arch Manning. We'll find out. If they have Arch Manning on this football team in 2027, after the draft, the day after the draft, I might do it on the Friday for day 2. Go get the tattoos of the final scores. Somewhere on my person. I'll do it.
They'll be as famous, those numbers, as 28-3, Falcons, Patriots, Super Bowl.
I'll do it. I don't care. And I don't. A lot of things have to click into place for this all to go down, obviously. But man,
yeah, you have to tank next year.
I'm tired of rooting, and they probably still won't be that good. I'm tired of rooting for losing. You went 1-31 for a quarterback before. What did you get out of it? You have to put together the rest of the team too.
Yeah, Ken and I have gone after each other for years about this, about whether or not you can.
You're
build
being
a
surprisingly nice to me. I can't believe this.
I'm not going to be a phony and conjure up some fake argument or a louder argument.
I'm just
than
surprised
what
you're not calling me stupid. I thought I'd really have my nose rubbed into this.
You know what? Honestly, part of it is I think people have it mistaken because it's just I've talked about Mendoza so much, and I've obviously gone up and down about what I like about him, but he's not a generational prospect. He's not even, we talked about Caleb Williams a certain way. Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Obviously we know a little more about Drake May now, and he's going to probably finish runner-up for the MVP. I don't want to make it seem like we didn't have questions about Drake May coming out. He was not the greatest prospect in the world either.
And Drake May was not number 1 overall. Am I not mistaken about that? Am I mistaken about that? He wasn't number 1 overall. So you guys, we blame fate. We want all these silly things to save us. No. You guys are getting it right when you guys are critical of the Cleveland Browns themselves. I think they've tried to be a much more serious organization. You don't give a guy $230 million and give up 3 first-round draft picks if you're not serious about winning. If you're not trying to be serious about winning.
And it did go Caleb, Jaden, Drake May.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So Caleb who?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, yeah. Drake May. Boy, good class. I'm not even arguing about a better class. But you can find a quarterback at some point just be a good football team that knows how to scout. And if you can't, I'm tired of rooting for losing. I'm tired of hearing, I've never rooted for him to lose. I'm tired of hearing about rooting for losing. I'm tired about trying to find ways to drag this team to places against their own will. If they can't make the right decisions, then to hell with it. It's on them. But damn it, I went to the game. Yeah, I sat with a Steelers fan, a well-known Steelers fan. I wouldn't say he's popular. I'd say he's more, just well-known. I sat with a well-known Steelers fan. It was nice that the Browns won. I had fun. I knew when they won the game what it would cost. I knew it going in. That's on the Browns. And I'm fine with them winning the game. Had they lost the game, I wouldn't have been upset. It would have been fire and brimstone screaming on Monday. I haven't screamed on a Monday in many weeks.
I know what your stance has been. You have not wavered on your stance. I do wonder if Ken Carman would have felt differently if it just would have been a bigger prospect. And even more of a...
No, I'm telling you right now, I think Fernando Mendoza
or
will probably...
if you were in love with Mendoza, because you're not in love with him. You're just like, I think he could be good.
But if you were... If you were a betting man, I'm not a betting man, you're not either. I would put money down that Mendoza will be a legitimate Pro Bowler type of quarterback.
Okay.
I would put money down that he's a above average quarterback, good quarterback. I will put money on that.
I said he was unflappable. His back shoulder throw...
He's great.
Looks straight out of what I was seeing yesterday in the NFL from all the good quarterbacks the last few days.
My point is that I don't care. I'm saying I think Mendoza's going to be a good prospect. I don't care. I hold the Browns accountable for what the Browns haven't been able to do. I'm not looking up into the cosmos. And if we would have lost this and lost that, if we would have done this, guys, they've been losing. And I know the argument is, well, they might as well do something out of it if they're going to lose. Okay, guys, that's fine. Again, I'm not yelling at them if they would have lost those last two games. They won those last two games, and I don't believe, this is where I'll meet you halfway, I've never once said that momentum carries over. I don't believe it does.
Oh, wait, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that, we're hearing about 5 years from now as they are hoisting the Lombardi trophy. I would love it. I'm not even being sarcastic. I would love it if somebody would reference one of those players that in that locker room, Carson Schlesinger is like, I battled through injuries at the end of the year because I wanted to pave the way, and then other guys that became infectious and they built on it and all that. I would love that if that were the case. I just sometimes in that league just don't know that's true.
I'm still on the board. If you have a high pick, I'm not trying to force Ty Simpson at the end of the first round or anything like that. I'm still on the board. If you have a high pick and there's a quarterback there, you take the quarterback and you build around the quarterback. I haven't backed off of any of that. But I'm never, ever, ever going to root for a team in professional sports to lose. I will accept it. I will accept the Browns not being... I was ready to accept the Browns not being a good football team and losing those two games. I did not go into the Steelers game thinking we were going to win. I didn't go into the Bengals game thinking we were going to win. We had guys out. I didn't think they were going to win that game. Like, you're going down there. I know they don't have much to play, but you're going against Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, he can be an MVP type of quarterback. They got two great wide receivers there. I didn't think you were going to win those games. I forgot that Joe Burrow, I sort of forgot that Joe Burrow is terrified of playing the Browns for whatever reason, and it's very hard for him to do anything against the Browns of all teams. And I forgot that for a moment. But I'm not upset that they won those last two games of the year, and nor do I believe that this is going to carry over. I do believe that there's such thing as a culture win. I believe that those two games are culture wins because you guys know damn sure they weren't playing for the head coach, so they had to be playing for each other then, weren't they?
Hey, they were ecstatic. I'll give it to them. Like that locker room, you would have thought they won the Super Bowl the way the season ended.
That's what I'm pointing out.
So I'm not going to dismiss that, and then Miles is going to be here. They're not trading him. We understand the cap ramifications. He's going to be a Cleveland Brown. So if you did make him happy at the end of the year and you at least planted the seed that, hey, all that stuff that he talked about a year ago, this was the start of maybe changing his mind, because the first 16 weeks that was not the case.
We are not in a position to get Fernando Mendoza. We're probably not going to be in any sort of a position, because I have to ask why the Jets would move out of that spot to get Dante Moore. I'm willing to accept the fate of what this is. I still put it to the Browns. You are tasked with finding your next quarterback, your bridge quarterback. You are tasked with that. Losing, we've lost before on purpose. What did it get us? It only got us more losing. I'm never going to root for losing. It's not going to happen. And if that's the reason you think I'm a dumbass of all the other reasons that I've given you over the last 14 years on the air, then fine, I'll accept it. 216-474-0092. 8:20 this morning, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder, going to join us on the show. He has a stark warning for Browns fans. And, you watch that Tom Brady, you'll learn something about football. It's coming up in 5 minutes on Lima Likes on the Fan. Window Nation, you're going to learn something right now.
NFL in Cleveland. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Does Lima like?
Or does Lima no like?
Like?
Tell me likey. I'm liking it.
I like it a lot.
No like.
He doesn't like you.
I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. Like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
I don't think we've had a Monday this season with the wine and gold that we've been able to say,
Lima likes.
folks, I know it was a matinee, which I normally really like. It's just,
I loved it.
Because it was such a football weekend, maybe it's good that they got it out of the way.
I loved it.
Like that.
Basketball day.
Hell yeah.
Matinee, I mean, normally, I know we had that Knicks game that was early. I would like to see more matinees. I just wonder how many fans were, perched in front of their TVs watching it, but it was their best offensive performance by far this year. It looked like vintage Cavalanche Cavs, 146, 134. The entire starting five was awesome. And then Tyson off the bench was awesome. It was hopefully a sign of things to come. They've won 5 of 7, and even the coach thinks, hey, they might be heading in the right direction.
We're doing better. We got a long way to go, but we're trending, trending up.
So you mentioned the San Antonio win, and they were right there with the Knicks. I mean, they blew a 17-point lead, at Madison Square Garden. That one sucked, because had they have won that game, we're thinking very differently. That Pistons game was just a slugfest. Neither team had their center, so I didn't have a ton of takeaways from that. But Kenny?
It was the win of the year. Oh, you want me to explain why?
Well, is it making you think anything different? I know it's just a stretch.
Yeah, it calms me down a little bit, because I can't tell you the last time I had a blast just watching the Cavs. I told you I had a meltdown during the Indiana game, because I'm like, we just can't blow anybody out anymore. It doesn't happen. And in this game, we were in control, and then because we're in control, it's fourth quarter, I'm going, yeah, we were in the control on Christmas Day too, and what happened? Your brain starts playing with you, because there's just so much going around. There's a lot of things that they got to fix. And some of that is injury, and Stan Van Gundy made a great point to bring that up. He was a little bit more rational about it. They were talking about Kenny Atkinson. I thought that the Prime broadcast that I watched was great. And there was a lot of positivity around the team and what their future is, because this has not been the right start. And they were going, man, this team needs this win. They need this win for momentum. Obviously, in the standings, we're starting to pay attention to that a little bit. They needed that win bad, and they needed a performance like that, and I loved it, and hopefully it helps them turn the corner here, because they got it. We got to get moving here.
And they're taking on the Jazz tonight at home. Do you know how many points the Jazz just gave up in their last matchup? The answer is 150 to the Hornets.
That's a lot. To the Hornets?
They lost by 55 points. That is not a typo.
Okay.
That's hard to do. Meanwhile, hey, could one announcer in particular be turning the corner?
Lima likes.
I thought Tom Brady was pretty darn good yesterday in that 49ers-Eagles game, but when it came to an explanation on how to actually navigate a football through tumultuous conditions, this courtesy of Fox.
What you see it, and I talk about the point of the ball a lot. You see it from, I'll start in this angle. This is kind of like a neutral plane. This is when the poise slightly down. When you're throwing into the wind, it has to be neutral. If the point of the ball is up, any wind friction is going to push that ball up over the top. So as a quarterback, you don't really like that U throw underneath, because naturally that's going to point the tip of the ball up. You'd like more of a C, or an inverse, a reverse C. That's how you kind of control the point of the ball, and then you can kind of just snap it off as you throw it. But in these windy conditions, you can't be underneath the ball. There's too much wind surface of the ball to knock it off its path.
Nitty-gritty football.
That
was
nitty-gritty.
I love it.
What a breakdown.
Jamison Crowder wheel route down the right sideline. Touchdown and a 4x1 individual ISO slant.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
He was not distracted by the K-pop Demon Hunters playing in the background.
Well, it's the song that's sweeping the nation.
It really is. That was, and actually, if you saw it, it was even better.
The explanation was excellent. Audio courtesy of Fox.
Changing the arm angle on the release, it's something you'd want to show every high school quarterback.
It was so good. Toby was in the shower, and I rewound it. And when he came downstairs, I go, you got to watch this.
Yeah.
Because he plays quarterback. I'm like, you got to watch this. This is how you throw a football.
You're gonna have some windy days over there on the west side.
It was so good. He was in the shower. I took the TV in there and went, watch this right now.
Look at this right now, boy.
He turned into a physics professor I thought he was. Who is the sports scientist guy that died?
Oh.
No, Bill Nye's still very much alive.
Bill Nye's still with us. John Brankus.
Yes.
69!
That's right. It was John Brankus.
R.I.P.
Yes. That was an amazing breakdown. I do think he's getting more comfortable. He's actually a little more pointed in his criticism. So he doesn't sound like a broadcaster, so he's not like polished or anything like that. Like Troy Aikman, it took years for Troy Aikman to become Troy Aikman.
Good.
But
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that breakdown. I thought he was good yesterday.
And you could tell he did not think much of Philadelphia, that attack, or anything. I do wonder, Kenny.
I just thought it was weird that he said Nick Sirianni and A.J. Brown had a good relationship.
Was there a chance
in the middle of them fighting?
Was there a chance that it was sarcastic, or was it the opposite? Was it that he's been in relationships like that where he wins, maybe with him and Belichick, but there is a professional relationship? I don't know.
Good point. Didn't think about that part.
Now, who are you sick and tired of me talking the most, Kenny?
Lima no likes.
Would it be Kyle Shanahan over the years, which I said there's only maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the NFL I would take over Shanahan?
No, he showed yesterday why he has a lifetime contract with that football team. I can't begrudge you for that.
Well, it was either Shanahan or
Lima no likes.
Kurt Cignetti. I'm enchanted at this point with Cignetti. I want the Browns. I want all the NFL teams to throw all the money in the world because I need to get him out of college football because he's now an impediment to my Ohio State Buckeyes. I did find it interesting. I couldn't really, and I felt like one of those SEC loser fans. I could not root against Indiana. I don't have this rivalry, at least in football, basketball over the years. In football, I have never had a rivalry with any Indiana fans. I do know a couple really good Indiana fans. One was there at the game. And he's like rubbing it in, and I'm not even mad. I respect the hell out of what he's built. I'll hate them next year.
Yeah.
But I can't hate this team at all. I love the coach. I think he's hilarious.
When you free yourself from being an Ohio State fan, as I have, and been a neutral observer of college football, and have enjoyed the Big Ten more, I can enjoy what Kurt Cignetti is doing. I still don't know why you would leave a situation like that for the Browns, but fine, go ahead and have your overtures. The best chance for you to get them is that they win a national championship. Okay, I've accomplished everything here. I did the unthinkable here.
They got to speed up my clock.
Now the next place to go is the NFL.
Because he could do something that Nick Saban, someone he worked for, was not able to do, and that was win at the next level.
I have a question for you. It might be diabolical. Is Kirk Cignetti in Indiana and NIL saving college football or ruining college football?
Well, it's a great question. It might be something we pick up either later or
I don't know if they're saving
tomorrow.
it, but they're making it better.
But here's what I will say.
But isn't that ruining it?
There was a period, Owen, where I was really down on college football, and Ohio State was one of the 3 teams that you could count on that were mopping up, getting all the recruits, winning all the games. It was Clemson, it was Alabama, and then I'd say a 4th would be random SEC team that decided that year to pay a bunch of their players under the table. I think that's where we were at. It got boring. There was no reason to watch a lot of the season. Now, how many teams, like Miami as a 10 seed, or are they 8 or 10? They have a chance to win the national championship. Maybe now you could make the argument if Notre Dame would have gotten in, maybe Texas, had they have gotten in, that now you've opened up the field. I don't know how sustainable the model is of endless free agency, being able to go into the portal. I mean, Oregon lost a player that they could have used to the portal at running back, going into that game.
Well, you need to change the calendar. That's what you need to do. And I wish that, I think there will be some regulation coming. Ted Cruz tweets about it too much for there to be no regulation about this by the time, 2028 comes around. There's going to be some regulation. So I still think enjoy it while you can, because I think it's going to change the landscape a little bit. But I don't know how you can't see it. The only place Indiana ever had any business winning a national championship in football was in video games before. This is like you create a dynasty on college football.
That's what I'm saying. Is that ruining it?
I don't think
it's taking away from those people that just want the marching bands and the powers to be the powers.
I think those people are aging out of it.
Yeah, you notice no players were ineligible this year in college football.
Well,
there was one program.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a bugaboo.
We did
there,
a local program.
What are you gonna do? These things happen.
Listen, I know that the Mendoza thing bothers a lot of people because we, according to some, have a quarterback or have 8 of them. I don't know. I know the Cignetti thing is a total pipe dream. I do think the Browns need to interview him or talk to him or have your scouts camped out at all of their events, because never before has the NFL been the college football world been so professional. I think you could learn a lot by what Cignetti is doing.
Probably could.
So that's
Probably could. Outstanding as always. Daryl Ryder going to join us at 8:22 this morning. He has a stark warning for Browns fans. And that mean old nasty Cleveland media could learn a lesson from a press conference that happened in the post game yesterday down in Jacksonville.
Anthony Lima for Man.
The pooch, that's not revisionist history. Revisionist history is you say fire Kevin Stefanski, he goes to Baltimore, has success, and you go, I never wanted to fire Kevin Stefanski.
You're right. I'm not scared of where Stefanski goes in the slightest bit. I'm not scared of him going to Baltimore, while also understanding I think Stefanski's only as good as the talent around him.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I thought Mike McDaniel was interviewing today. It's just this week. Tom Pelissero said that he's going to interview with the Browns this week for the open head coaching job.
Amongst other jobs. Falcons, Titans, Ravens.
Yes, but I thought it was today. I didn't say it on the air. I didn't, right?
I wasn't sure. We talked about it off the air. And you know what, guys? This is such a real show that our off-air conversations
it's a real-ass show,
mirror the conversations we have on the air.
It's so real. So
except the political
true.
Stuff that we do off.
Also, speaking of real, what's the social media reactions brought to you by?
They're brought to you by Scheiben. I can't say it. Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
On our YouTube page, which you can subscribe to for free and comment for free in the chat. Who's asking says a tat wouldn't be heavy lifting. Ken has enough rolls, hills, and valleys to hide them. Because I said if we end up with Arch Manning, I saw that touchdown run against Michigan where he looked into the camera right in the guy's cell phone. I'm like, oh God, I kind of like this. Kind of wanting to get this guy now. We'll see what he does next year, because if he does a whole year like he did the second half this year, then yeah, obviously. But I thought, real quick, because of the conversation we were having about the tanking at the end of the year and how we could have had the number 1 pick, and everybody was so upset I just heard Nick and Jonathan talk about revisionist history. There was definitely revisionist history there on Friday night with some of the media out there. I said, yeah, fine. I'll get the final scores. If the Browns end up with Arch Manning, I'll get the final scores tattooed somewhere on my person, big enough to see, of the Bengals game and of the Steelers game. I'll get them tattooed somewhere. I have no tattoos. I'm going to be 40 this year. I have no reason to get tattoos. I've passed that era of my life, so I imagine I wouldn't get them. Yeah, fine. I'll do it.
It would be funny if you did all that, got the tattoos to commemorate your staunch opposition to tanking, and then Mendoza ends up being better.
It would be great. And it would. You know what? It would be my luck. Also, there's reports from Jonathan Jones today that there is mutual interest between the Browns and John Harbaugh to talk, which I'm thinking, guys, if you are in the room with him, you got to pull out all the stops. Anything's got to be on the table for a guy like John Harbaugh. Whether or not people should agree or disagree with that, that's coming up with Darryl Ryder coming up at 8:20. Is the Cleveland media too mean or too soft? Because I saw it from both sides yesterday. Jacksonville lost yesterday afternoon, and a journalist named Lynn Jones in the press conference said, do we have the commentary, right? This is Lynn Jones to head coach of the Jags, Liam Cohen, after their loss to the Buffalo Bills.
I want to tell you, congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
As the Jacksonville Free Press's Lynn Jones, a very nice thing to say. And you said you got people saying that this should be the Cleveland media.
Yes.
And we could take a lesson.
Yes, that instead of tearing down our players, our quarterbacks like Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur, we should be at the forefront of trying to hype them up, not being part of the problem, instead combating the problem. These are things I've seen for years.
Did they not hear Jeff Shedell before the Bengals game? Do we have Shedell?
Do we have a Shedell montage?
Shedell? I mean, Shedell said he wasn't going to be able to go down to Cincinnati, and he wanted to say, he got it off his chest, what he thinks of Kevin Stefanski and what he thinks of the situation that Kevin Stefanski has, and that it was unfair. I mean, he wasn't as vociferous as Lynn Jones was in her support of Liam Cohen, but I think that I'm sure she's been a journalist for a long time. Jeff has been a journalist for a long time. There comes a time where, damn it, you know what? You're just going to say it. It's your own commentary. Jeff was very supportive of Kevin Stefanski in a press conference.
Now, he did not shout Cuyahoga County.
Who did that?
I'm saying the Jacksonville thing with Duval.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
Duval
you don't
County.
hear that in Pittsburgh with Allegheny County. Either way, okay, I thought this was, you might be surprised at the start of this, and then you won't be surprised how I finish it. I thought it was a very nice moment.
All right.
And you never hear me ever go that route. Like, I'm always like, come on.
I thought you were going to rip this poor lady.
Oh, I will. I will be getting to that in a second.
All right.
This was a very nice moment. And listening to it, I was like, man, this is like a human interaction. This isn't journalist versus head coach, holding them accountable or any of that. I was like, it was nice to actually hear something like that, which was in stark contrast to what it normally is. And then when I was done thinking that, I was like, but this can't be what happens during the finite amount of time that you have in a press conference setting where everybody has their hands up. Every boss tells and Daryl can attest to this. Daryl knows what questions to ask, but if he doesn't ask an obvious question and it doesn't get asked, like Keith's going to be like, hey, why didn't you ask what was on everybody's mind? Why didn't you ask about that fourth down play? Why didn't you ask about, how bad this was? By the way, did you see Greg Newsome in coverage yesterday? Gave up 6 of 7 and a touchdown. Anyway, he was not good, nor was any of their secondary. But that needs to be asked. You only have so much time. Why couldn't this woman have done that or found a way to do that on her own time? Why did she feel the need for that to
Maybe she doesn't. She knows she's not going to get a chance to go find him in the hallway. She's not going to get a chance to say any of these other things. I think some of you guys are really overthinking this on some of this. Well, first off, Jeff said nice things to Kevin. It's just basically what fans want media to say to coaches. I mean, there are people who just cannot stand that, yes, I think that the time for Kevin was over, but I like Kevin as a man, and I think he's a good person. And that I would consider him a buddy, and I would consider him a good guy, and all that other good stuff. And for the same matter, I think Andrew Berry's a wonderful guy. And I think Andrew Berry has certainly made a lot of mistakes over 6 years here with the Cleveland Browns, certainly. And I've been critical of that. They don't want to hear that. There's people who don't want to hear that because things ain't going well. If things were going well, then yeah, they want a little bit more rah-rah. They want a little bit more of the people that they like. But at the same time, I just think we're all overthinking this. Like, I heard TJ Ward, go back to TJ Ward's comments. And I heard, I'm not trying to call anybody out just because maybe I disagree with them or anything. Like Earl, I heard him and Spencer talking about that situation on Saturday. When TJ Ward said how tough the Cleveland media is, how bad the Cleveland media is. And they were talking about, there's people out of behind the scenes. And when you talk about Cleveland media, you're also talking about them. No, I think that people don't blame the photographers on the way that sports is covered in Cleveland. I think that they have the ones that they agree with and the ones they disagree with. And I thought that people getting all upset, my media brethren, some of them getting upset with TJ Ward. I go, wait a minute. I've been on here 14 years. I've said some not so nice things about some players out there and certainly some coaches out there. What, I can't handle it if one of them fires back? I never had a problem with TJ Ward. I don't think anybody really cares. I'm just a member of Cleveland media, and there's people who every day, hopefully they're listening to it because they're entertained by it, but there's people every day who either like or hate an opinion I say and hate me because of an opinion I say, and they would love for TJ Ward to light me up or anybody else. That's part of the game. That's part of what you're doing.
What everybody signs up for.
So why, if everybody signs up for it, then why did we seem to be so defensive over TJ Ward saying what he said?
I think it's because, and I kind of talked to you about this off the air, I laugh that all these ex-players, Johnny Manziel, Cleveland media, they're a part of the problem. Okay, well, you don't hear that. By the way, never heard that from Bernie Kosar. They actually went to AFC Championship games. They had fun with the Cleveland media. Partied with the Cleveland media a little bit. But that was a winning team. It was a winning organization. And the Cleveland Cavs, I bring up, like if you were to ask Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, they had zero problems with the Cleveland media. Why would they have problems with the Cleveland media? They went to the finals every year. They won the NBA championship. So it does not surprise me that the Browns players think that the Cleveland media is so bad, so mean, because we have all had to cover some of the worst teams and one of the worst organizations in sports.
But I also think where a guy comes in...
You can't put lipstick on that pig.
Yeah, but you say that, but I think that these guys... Like, if Mason Graham came in and Mason was like, what is it with you guys? You guys got this burr on your ass about this football team. And it's like, well, Mason Graham has every right to think that way. He just got here. Or Carson Schlesinger just got here.
I was just going to say, do you think Carson Schlesinger is going back home to California and is like, man, the brutal Cleveland media? It was all positive for Carson the entire year.
But if he was paying attention to some of the things said about some of the teammates, he might feel that way.
Or he might agree.
Or about the coaches or general manager. He might agree. But I'm going with this as I didn't understand why we got all defensive about it as a media entity. All of us. Some radio stations, TV, writing, all of us. I don't understand why we got so defensive when this is part of the goal to be part of the show.
Here's what it is.
That's what it is. You're part of the show. They're in an entertainment business, so am I. If one of them takes a swing at me, that's the way it goes.
I don't honestly, Kenny, I don't care about any of that. We're just talking this out. Like Joe Thomas, yes, he had some media in town that he thought little unfair. And then he had other media in town where he'd probably be honest now, probably leaked out some information once in a great while.
Wow.
I think you earn that right,
Calling
too.
him out, are you?
I think, but sometimes there's a method to your madness. I think sometimes you can use the media, maybe even manipulate the media to maybe get some things out that you think should be out, that you think it would help the organization
without a doubt.
if certain things got out about certain people in the organization. And so whether it was Joe or anybody else, but when he was all said and done, I sometimes think guys that are losers, that want to play the victim about their career, didn't go the way they wanted to, Johnny Manziel, so they will point out how bad the Cleveland media was when Joe Thomas, first ballot Hall of Famer, he does a lot of favors for Cleveland media because he thinks he was fairly covered.
That's where I disagree. I'll tell you this. I think that fans are smart enough, for the most part, to see through it. I think there's fans that always think, and you and I could sit there and go, Philadelphia media is nasty. New York media is nasty. They don't care about New York and Philadelphia. They care about Cleveland. And they want to hear what they want to hear. And when the teams are bad, they want us to rip them. When the teams are good, they want us to be nice.
True sometimes.
But I'll tell you this. I think that they do see through that. I think that 9 out of 10 Browns fans, if they saw what Johnny Manziel had said about another host in town, they probably would have disagreed with Johnny Manziel and said, you're an idiot. Why do I want to care about what you have to say after you had firsthand abilities to help this football team, and you didn't. In fact, you made them far worse. Why, Jadeveon Clowney? I mean, say what you will. Everybody lines up to say what they will about Mary Kay Cabot sometimes here, but there were a lot of people going, no, Jadeveon Clowney's full of it. There were plenty of people who are not the biggest fans of Mary Kay who went right after Jadeveon Clowney on this show.
Remember he backtracked?
When he backtracked and tried to say that he didn't say what he said to Mary Kay. There were plenty of people out there. Like, yeah, if Shedeur Sanders ends up being a great player and goes after one of us, you're going to have to deal with it. TJ Ward, he was a Pro Bowler here, right? A legitimate Pro Bowler. He was a pretty good player. He says that at that time. Yeah, some people are just going to agree with it. You're going to have to put up with it. And that's what kind of threw me off all last week. I was going, what are you guys bitching about this? Who cares? You're part of it.
Here's what I don't want to happen. And I said, I thought it was a nice moment. I just didn't think that was the time or the place. Whatever. People can have their perspective on this. I'm totally open to hearing other people out. We'll ask Daryl about it, whatever. But, the Shedeur stuff this year, when there was one post-game press conference where it was pretty clear that one of, somebody in their production group asked a question that seemed like it might have been one that was conjured up ahead of time. Whatever. That sometimes happens too. It happened with LeBron. LeBron, there were some people, I'm not going to name names, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that asked some questions that he was ready for that were out of the blue, and I'm like, oh, that was set up ahead of time. But LeBron has a certain built up over time credibility that he could maybe steer something like that. You wouldn't want this to happen all the time. You wouldn't want puff questions being asked, post-game press conferences consistently, taking the time away from actual people there to do real work.
Well, that part you're right about, but I think that this was the time that people did want to hear about it because this was a more bun franchise. I'll say this, and we got Daryl coming on. This was a more bun franchise down in Jacksonville. Like, they're the team that I'm like, hey, guys, if Tony Khan can wear a neck brace on the NFL draft because he took a DDT in public or a pile driver in public on his wrestling show, if they can get that situation turned around and in the right direction, we sure as hell can as well. I don't care what anybody says. But if they did it in 2 years, if they keep losing in the wild card round, no, they're going to want to hear something different. And they're going to want to hold Liam Cohen to an accountability there because the standards have changed. They have absolutely changed. And she's probably been doing it a long time. I never knew who she was before. She's probably seen a lot of nasty things. She's probably hopeful that the team does well. Yeah. 216-474-0092. I want to ask Daryl about this. And coming up at 8:45 might be Galaxy Brain time. Daryl has also a warning for Browns fans, for everybody out there at 8:21 on The Fan.
It's Anthony.
campus.
We've got one more name to add to our list here. Little bit of breaking news from
here we go.
ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Cleveland Browns have now requested a head coach interview with Rams pass game specialist Nate Shalassi.
Oh, baby.
So not their offensive coordinator, but their pass game specialist.
That was yesterday with Daryl Ryder and Nick Padone.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Oh, boy.
And tell everybody who Daryl is brought to us by.
Scheibman Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store, baby.
Hi, Daryl.
Hello, boys.
Oh, baby. Here's Daryl.
Oh, baby.
So, do we got the name right now, don't we?
Shieldhouse.
There we go. See, that's why you need to be listening to the end of the show on Thursday. Because Lima blurted it out for everybody to hear, and then I got mad at him.
That's true. He did get mad.
When somebody said that the Browns were telling us, no, we got friends other places. Browns didn't tell us nothing about that situation. Nate Shieldhouse, yes or no? Daryl, go.
They are casting a wide net. I don't know that he's ready to be a head coach, but it could be a coordinator interview disguised as a head coaching interview as well. And I think that that's something that people need to understand about this process is that, and same thing goes with like Todd Monken as well, that, believe it or not, with some of these interviews, they ultimately end up landing coordinator jobs. Happened to Jim Schwartz. He interviewed for the head coaching job. I think it was in 2020. A couple years later, they brought him back to be the defensive coordinator. So don't discount any of the names that are on the list. But again, you can really see that the Browns are casting a wide net in this coaching search, and they should be. You never know what you can find, but the search is going exactly how Andrew Berry told us it would go. There are some names on that list that nobody else is really looking at, and there's some names on the list that a lot of people are looking at. Well, so far, Daryl, then, if you could maybe power rank, we don't need the music for it. I know Owen just perked up, but the legitimate candidates so far that you think if you were to prioritize, like who are those legitimate candidates, not for coordinators, for the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns, what would it look like? Well, John Harbaugh's got to be number one. Mike McDaniel, I would say, is probably number two. He's interviewing today. I think Dan Pitcher is an absolute serious candidate. I think Shieldhouse is an absolute serious candidate. Chris Shula, if they're able to talk to him, would be a serious candidate. Just trying.
Is Jim Schwartz a serious candidate?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't think he's getting the job. So
why not?
I think that they're going to go in a different direction with an offensive-minded head coach. So I think they're going to hire an offensive-minded head coach because, quite frankly, that's where they need the help. The defense is fine, but by doing that, you might also cost yourself Jim Schwartz. There's always a chance that he says thanks but no thanks, even though he is under contract for 2026. But holding over coordinators is not something that is new. It does happen. I mean, how many coordinators did head coaches did Chris Tabor survive, right? I think he survived like 3 different head coaches as special teams coordinator. So, but it has to be a situation where the head coach is picking Jim Schwartz to remain on as his defensive coordinator. And I know there's some reporting out there that the Browns are telling candidates that is something that they would prefer they do, and that is keep Jim Schwartz. I do feel like, though, if you do something like that, you basically kneecap your new head coach, and you have to give him absolute control and authority over his coaching staff. Well, that brings us to the Jim Schwartz part of this, which is if he does not get the head coaching job after having at least half a day to be able to interview for it, right, do you think there is a high likelihood that he would want to be here as a defensive coordinator for another coach that he lost that position to? No, I think that there's a good chance that he would stay if he was invited to. But
if it's a defensive guy, like if they hire Aiden Dirty or one of these, Chris Shula, one of these other defensive, Jesse Minter, if they hire a defensive guy, then I would say no, Jim Schwartz would not want to stay here because, well, you look in the mirror and you look at the body of work over the last 3 years that you've had here, and you get bypassed for that promotion. Why would you want to stay?
Daryl Rutter joining us on the show. I mean, let's cut to it right now. Jonathan Jones says there's mutual interest between the Browns and John Harbaugh. Apparently, he's going to narrow down his list of teams he's willing to meet with this week. If they can get John Harbaugh in the room, you got to pull out all the stops, right?
Yes, 100%. Okay. He is the guy I want. I don't care what it takes to get him. I don't care who has to be fired to get him. I feel like he is the guy to do exactly for this franchise what it needs, and that is to bring a completely different perspective on things and flip it on its head, because the current groupthink does not work. Okay? It is proven. If you would like me to read the results from the last 13 years, I will. But it's proven that the way they do things does not work, and they need somebody to come in here and run with this thing and do things their way. I used to not give someone full control guy. The Browns have been so poorly managed that I'm all for it now, because I don't trust these people to get this right. I don't trust Andrew Berry to get the quarterback decision right or to rebuild this offense, because, well, the areas they need help are areas that Andrew Berry hasn't been very proficient at. He's not been good at finding quarterbacks. He's not been good at finding offensive linemen, and outside of the Amari Cooper trade, not very good at finding wide receivers. So, it's real hard for me to have a lot of trust, faith, and belief in the current way that the Browns do things. And that's why I'm all for radical change. And bringing in a John Harbaugh would be radical change. And I'm all for it. If the worst thing that happens is the Browns make the playoffs every year, but they don't win a Super Bowl, sign me up for that. Because I would rather be arguing over why the team didn't advance in the playoffs and what it's going to take for them to get to the next level and things like that, than sitting here bickering about whether or not they should have lost the last 2 games of the season so they could have the number 1 pick in the draft, which, by the way, they mess up on a regular basis when they get it anyway, outside of Myles Garrett. So, that's just where I'm at with this whole thing. Blank check, blank contract, whatever it takes to get this guy to come in here. And, oh, by the way, he gets the added bonus of trying to stick it to the Ravens, who fired him twice this season.
Would you be willing to do that for Nick Sirianni or Matt LaFleur?
Probably not.
Okay, why?
I just, because Harbaugh, I mean, obviously there's local connection here with his family. There's his intimate knowledge of the Browns because he's been taking them to the woodshed for the last 18 years, and you can really exploit that. He's got the institutional knowledge on the entire division as well that you can, really exploit. I did see, so I think Harbaugh is 3-6 in his last 9 playoff games, and LaFleur is 3-6 in his last 9 playoff games. That stat came from one of the Green Bay Packer reporters answering some of the calls up there to fire him after they blew that 18-point lead the other night to the Bears in the second half. I think that Harbaugh is someone that you go the extra mile to get. Especially because of the competition that's out there. I think there's more competition for him than those 2 guys that you mentioned.
Yeah, Daryl, when we get into what you're watching in the playoffs and what truly matters, what are you picking up on, either whether it's coaches or just teams in general, that you think the Browns are missing? Because clearly our defense would be right in there with a lot of these teams, and in fact, much better than, say, Buffalo's. Yet we're on the outside looking in. What have you noticed? What were some takeaways after what you saw this weekend?
Well, I think, listen, what San Francisco is doing right now is remarkable considering the volume of injuries that they have sustained throughout this season. One of the takeaways is team. You've got to build a team. And look, Kevin Stefanski did a good job of that for a while. It certainly helped them in 2023 when they needed the 5 quarterbacks and dusted Joe Flacco off the couch and were able to get into the playoffs. I think Kevin Stefanski did a real good job building teams early on. I don't know that happened the last couple years. I think defensively, while the players tried to say and act the right way publicly when it came to the deficiencies with the offense, there's frustration there that the offense can't do anything. The other thing too is I'm finding interesting that all of a sudden kicking field goals is not a thing in the NFL anymore. Taking the points is becoming not a thing anymore, which is surprising because in the playoffs you would think you got to take the points. All the points that you can get in that, in those situations. But the aggressiveness of these coaches going forward on 4th down. But again, these are things Kevin Stefanski did too. Kevin went forward on 4th down quite a bit when he was here as well. I think it comes down to players. It's a players' game. Fans got on me on X yesterday because I said something to the effect of, look, you can get excited about all these young geniuses that are coming up in the coaching ranks, but if you don't have the players to execute the X's and O's, because all these guys have amazing X's and O's, they're all really, really good coaches, and they know the game. But if you don't have the players to go out there and execute, then it doesn't really matter. And, people then you're telling us not to root for the team. No, actually, that's more of a shot at the front office and the organization than it is the fans. It's not even a shot at the fans. It's a impetus for the organization to go out, get some guys that can play the sport at the level that I watch every other game except for Cleveland Browns football, okay? At least on the offensive side of things. Because you're right, this defense was playoff caliber, I would argue at times Super Bowl caliber. But when you have no receivers, when your offensive line is just completely decimated, and you don't have a quarterback, well, what do you expect? You started 2 rookie quarterbacks this year that were mid-round picks. You were expecting the Browns to win more than 5 games this year? I wasn't. So the defense is what made them competitive in a lot of these games. But also on the flip side, they got boat raced in 5 or 6 games this year too.
Daryl Ryder joining us here on the show. So, Lima, go ahead.
Yeah, Jacksonville loses that heartbreaker to Buffalo, so they blow the lead. Also abandon the run, even though they were running all over the Bills. So plenty to question head coach Liam Cohen. And this was the question we got from Jacksonville Free Press's Lynn Jones after the game.
I want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Daryl, your thoughts. By the way, Cuyahoga, you the one, Daryl.
Yeah, well, we had a situation like that a couple of weeks ago with Kevin Stefanski, and not much was said about that.
Hold on, Daryl. We said a lot about it. Here's that clip from Jeff Shadell.
I just want to say this. I'm not going to be in Cincinnati, and I really hope this is not the last time we get to talk to you face to face. I think you've had to deal with things, especially this year, that were unfair, that you had to coach a team that was, especially on offense, that was inferior to the teams that you faced. So I don't expect you to answer that. I just want you to know that's how I feel.
I respect that from you, as you know, and you guys know this game is never going to be about one person, and that includes me.
Kevin got a little flustered there. Hold on, Daryl. Before you answer that question, we have to go to break. So can you hang on?
Can you just answer that question when we come back?
Yeah, sure. I can come back.
Oh, okay. Daryl's giving us a little charity. Yeah. I want him to answer it when we come back. Also,
boy.
Some Galaxy brain for Browns fans coming up on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for Fanatics Sports.
The most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
I want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
you.
you.
Hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
you. And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very nice thing. Daryl Ryder back with us for a little bit longer. He'll be in for Baskin today, so you'll be able to hear even more of the great Daryl Ryder.
It's still Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
That it is. All right, Daryl, what'd you think? Because we played that, and then we played Jeff Shadell saying what he said to Kevin. Your thoughts, Daryl?
Nice sentiment. I will just speak for me. That is not something I would ever do in a post-game setting. There have been many people, including Kevin Stefanski, who've come through town that I've liked personally as well as professionally, but I've always tried to keep the objectivity in the media room in the press conference settings. But also, too, understanding the media landscape is changing. It's evolving. But I just was always brought up in the business under the guise of, if you want to be a fan, buy a ticket. If you want to be a reporter, then be a reporter and be objective. Do I have anything? I don't have anything. Personally against that woman. I think it's a very nice sentiment. I think the world needs a lot more positivity. But just again, from my own background, I do feel like that if I did that in a post-game setting, there are jobs that I would have had that I would have been fired from for doing that.
Wow, Daryl.
Daryl.
All right, we asked, you answered.
All right, Daryl, thank you very much for the time. All the best to you and yours.
You bet, guys.
Daryl Ryder, he'll join us again on Friday as we continue to look. Can I ask some Galaxy Brain for Brian? Well, do you agree with him at all before we move on, turn the page? I took up a lot of air when we first brought that up, the whole media thing, because I'm like, I think you pick and choose.
Well,
I think that
there are people that believe, and I don't understand this line of thought, but I'm open to hearing all perspectives. There are people that believe that not only are we in the media here in Cleveland way too negative on our sports teams, especially the Browns, but that we are part of the problem. And that has come up a bunch.
How are we a part of the problem?
Well, I can tell you, too, it's not really just the people in Cleveland. It's a lot of, and I'm getting this, you're not getting this necessarily, but on the Shador stuff. When I give the stats, the advanced numbers, when, you ask how I thought he played, and I'll say a few nice things, but I'll say a lot more negative right now at this stage. I'm being told that Shador deserves better, that he needs a more uplifting media. We should be out to uplift rookies and young players.
I don't think it's like that. I don't think that he needs that. I also firmly disagree. I don't want to step in it, but I firmly disagree with Jason last week. I'm like, you want him cut. Why do you want him cut? You want him cut because you're tired of seeing people say nasty things to you on the internet? Do you want him cut because it's hard to cover him? Do you want him cut because when you say you don't think he's a good quarterback, that he's got a big fan base and they go after you for it? Is that why you want him cut? Because wanting a guy cut from a team is a very strong thing to say. Saying that we should move. Why? You don't do anything for the media. You don't do anything for that. If you want him cut from the team, it should be because he's a detriment to the actual team. Now, I don't know all the story. Maybe we'll find out that he's a terrible teammate. I don't think we will. But if you found out a guy was a terrible teammate and not that good, that's a reason to cut the guy. Just because we're bickering amongst each other about a quarterback doesn't mean the guy should be cut. I thought it was a crazy thing for him to say, and I stand by it. And I'll say it to him to his face, and I've told him on the phone, and I'll tell him on the air again. I love Jason. I disagree firmly because I think we've lost our minds. Especially when it comes to him, I think we're nuts. I cannot state to you guys enough. I'm going to go on a bit of a soliloquy here. You can stop me if you want. Go right on ahead. Like some of the stuff I read over the weekend, I thought it was insane. Insane. I told you guys a million times over. Browns first. Browns first. Not Shador first. Browns first. If you guys want to call Shador fans a cult, Go right on ahead. If you want to call anti-Shador fans some sort of a cult, fine. I just want to let you guys know I'm part of neither of them. He's the quarterback for the Browns, and as of right now, he's the best option that they have. To me, it's not Deshaun, and it ain't Dylan Gabriel. If you guys want to have conversations this coming off season about Mac Jones and about Malik Willis and about just about anybody else, there's a couple of guys absolutely I'm not interested in whatsoever, certainly. But if you guys want to have conversations about those guys, I am perfectly fine for it. It's Browns first. That doesn't mean anti-Shador. It means I want what's best for the football team. As of right now, he's the best option. He's shown me enough. If they ended up getting John Harbaugh and John Harbaugh goes, he's got to go, I would like a plan after that of what he wants to do. If John Harbaugh thought that Mac Jones is going to set the world on fire and we got to get Mac Jones, so be it. So be it. If we can find a way to get number 1 overall without having to give up the entire draft Mike Ditka style, so be it. But my God, some of you guys have lost your minds wanting to cut a guy. Well, the fans are mean to me. I don't give a damn how mean the fans are. I just want to give anybody a chance on the team. I've had guys who flat out hated me. One in particular. And I still wanted him to win. Browns first, Guardians first, Cavs first. It should always be that way. He plays for the Browns. That's where it is with me. Sorry, I'm off the soapbox now. Go right on ahead.
I don't really disagree with anything you just said.
Well, it's amazing because I just catch a bunch of hell from a bunch of people going, oh my God, Ken's been brainwashed. I go, no, you guys spend way too much time on the damn internet arguing with people who are probably bots or not even big Shador fans or just trolling.
Which can be fun.
I'm sure there are big fans out there, but for the love of God.
Which can be fun, and yeah, I might have put out that Indiana won with less 5 and 4 stars with Mendoza than Colorado did with Shador. I might have put that out this week.
Yeah, you're tweeting out one thing at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. I go, what's the point?
So I do think that this is where I part ways with Jason Lloyd, is that I do not think Shador is such a, quote, circus, or that, like, let's say, I'm just going to conjure up one scenario, and I know everybody in Cleveland's out on Dante Moore because he had a hellaciously bad game that everybody was watching. I remind people that's not, NFL evaluators don't do that. They're not just out on a guy because they were watching the same game you were. Like there's some people that believe he has more arm talent than, I actually think, not just some people, I think he has more arm talent than Mendoza.
Oh, okay.
But he's not ready. So is there a world where, hey, if the Browns evaluated Dante Moore, that they just fell in love with him, that they could draft him and start Shador week 1, believe it or not?
Why couldn't there be?
I think that could be a plan. It's risky, but I don't think what I thought before the year, which is, well, you can't have Shador on the same team as a rookie that you draft. That would cast a shadow. I don't believe that anymore because I've seen it. Shador seems entirely likable, like he could deal with that. I don't know if his fans could. I don't know if some people close to Shador could deal with that. Could deal with, and both, and vice versa.
Him being a placeholder if they were to draft a Dante Moore or something?
Hey, I mean, Trey Lance in San Francisco was there, and he was supposed to be the next guy, and then they realized he couldn't play. And so, you never know how that, you can't totally forecast how that goes.
I'd much rather have Shador going into next year than Trey Lance on the record. Yeah. I mean, if we're being this way. But it doesn't have to be.
Like Shador, to me, has demonstrated not only can he actually play the position, that's the first step. Some guys don't prove that. Johnny Manziel, DTR, I don't think they prove that. I saw enough, despite how low he is statistically, even below those guys I just mentioned, he's demonstrated enough that he can compete for a job, and I don't think he'll be a massive distraction the way that Jason thinks.
And if I go away from this, just fine. Remind me as we go through this 4-month odyssey going ready for the draft. Like, I question the Jets if they want to move out of that number 2 spot if you really want to go after Dante Moore. Like, why don't the Jets want him? They're as desperate a team as we are for a quarterback. They've shown it a couple of times here in their recent history here. Like, I'm not saying that I love Shador no matter what over everybody. And anybody who does, again, I think that they're probably an online entity, and I don't think that they live in real life. Unless they're a family member of his. Then fine, go right on ahead. But I'm also not going to say, well, we got to have Ty Simpson in the back end of the first round. No, I don't believe Ty Simpson is going to be a franchise quarterback for us. And I don't want to make a bad situation that much worse because I'm arguing with people on the internet over Shedeur Sanders. That doesn't make my situation as a Browns fan better. 216-474-0092. All right, we got some Galaxy Brain for Browns fans coming up here in a bit. I just got to ask a question. And instant credibility with your fan base. Jimmy, Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
You can now watch The Fan live on YouTube. Catch The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima from 6 till 10 a.m. Baskin and Phelps 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin from 2 to 7 p.m. Each and every weekday. It's free. Subscribe to 92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
Oh, big giveaway time. Here we go.
4-pack of tickets to the Fan Night. Cleveland State Basketball, Thursday, January 15, 7 p.m. at the Wolstein Center. Ken will be there. I'll be there. It is going to be a veritable who's who at the step. Wait a second, Owen.
I said I might go.
You're going to dodge your other...
Well, normally we wrestle that night, but they've got a big 2-day tournament, so they're not wrestling.
Your kid just wins every time, so you don't need to see it every time.
He did get tournament MVP this weekend.
And they don't give that,
he did.
They don't give that to the runner-up.
Right.
No, you get MVP. Well, no, there's... How many losers have been in the MVP?
One,
the Super
Jerry
Bowl?
West. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that was the NBA Finals. Yeah.
Get tickets at csuvikings.com/tickets. Enter the word FAN, fan. By the end of this hour, 923thefan.com. Get registered to win. We will be there. We are going to interact with the masses. I'm told we have our own cheering section. It is also country western night.
Is it really?
I do not own any country western gear.
They're cheering for the show or they're cheering for the game?
Cheer for whoever you want.
I have that hat, but it don't fit no more anymore.
The Stetson?
Don't fit no more.
In your
My
senior
hat doesn't
picture?
fit anymore. Yeah, I still have it. It's in a hat box.
I'm guessing
it don't fit.
I'm guessing it'll fit me.
It'll fit you. You should wear it.
You bring the Stetson. I'm wearing the Stetson.
All right, I'll bring it. So at least someone will get some use out of it. It'll probably be a little bit too big on you. I don't have chaps. I don't have cowboy boots. Yeah, I don't like cowboy boots.
They do make normal chaps. You've only heard about one type of chaps. They make other chaps.
Full-throated chaps, huh?
Yeah. Full-bodied.
I'll bring the...
Full-bodied chaps. Full-assed chaps.
Bring the Levi Garrett.
Oh, man, it's been years since I've had some Levi. Been years. You ever have some Levi?
No.
Oh,
it's a red pouch state.
Hey, I'm not supposed to condone this sort of thing, but I like... Levi was my favorite back in the day. Back in the day, that was my one. Big Jeff Bodine, Hendricks fan. You know how that goes. All right, a couple things. One, Mike McDaniel scheduled the interview with the Browns this week, according to some. I thought it was today, but apparently it's this week. Also, Matt LaFleur, Pro Football Talk just put this out. Matt LaFleur, they are working on an extension.
Yeah, Schefter has this as well.
Okay, what do you got?
Says Schefter, Monday morning the Packers are expected to go to extension route. They're going to try to work out a deal to retain LaFleur in the coming days.
Shouldn't be too hard after the game.
Well, do you think it matters that they don't have your typical structure with ownership? They don't have an owner who is sitting there emotional about a lot. They have people in the building that are very emotional. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But those people don't answer to an owner.
No. Is it better?
I don't know.
It probably is, because if you have a consensus of people, like I think they have a board, and then they have a president of the board, and all the other stuff that they do over there. But it's almost like a jury. Like, you got to come to a consensus, so at least like one person isn't acting outrageously there when they make a decision based on what they want to do with their football team. Like, at least they have that. Now, I don't know how they get to voted to the board or any of that other stuff, but that's the way I would take it. Like, you're not up to the whims of... If an owner gets mad, and it's his team, and he's going to make a decision based on that. Which, by the way, if we're talking about head coaches, like, there's also, and we are, John Harbaugh, according to Jonathan Jones, has been mentioned as a person who has mutual interest between he and the Browns. Now, in the article from Jonathan Jones, he also writes that the Giants and Atlanta are the top choices amongst the vacant jobs for John Harbaugh. According to Jonathan Jones, those sources added that the Tennessee Titans are in third place, while a third different source said that there is real and mutual interest between Harbaugh and the Cleveland Browns. If you get them in the room, do you pull out all the stops?
Well, what are the stops?
Andrew Berry is stop number one.
Well, I wanted to ask you that earlier because you said that.
That's what that has to be.
We're all going to say money, but we're not the only team that can just pay John Harbaugh, a lot of money. What is it that you think he wants? Do we even know if he wants full control? Do we even know any of that?
I don't know what he wants.
We assume that guys that get to a certain level...
But I think that fans are looking at it going, whatever he wants. If he wants to keep... I think they look at it and go, they want Andrew Berry fired, so they're hoping that John Harbaugh would come in here and goes, that guy's got to go. What if John Harbaugh wants Andrew Berry? I would imagine John Harbaugh is going to be in a spot. In Tennessee, do they have a general manager? They fire him too already.
Well, no, they just specified, I think a week ago, what their new orders of operation would be.
Who knows? It changes every other week.
And Ohio University running back.
That owner never leaves her house, so you're not going to have anything there. Yeah. So
they have an actual scout now kind of running as the GM, and the vice president is Brinker.
And then they got rid of Fontenot down at Atlanta, but they have Matt Ryan as the director of football, not of operations. He's the director of president of football, which that's a lot to be a president of, the entire game. And then they just hired a guy down in Miami as their general manager. They just hired a new general manager over the weekend. I forget the guy's name. Or they were set to hire a new general manager over the weekend. I forget the guy's name. If John Harbaugh were to come here, I think that he lends instant credibility to everything you got going on. If you had John Harbaugh here and they had an introductory press conference and he was the head coach of the Browns, which is almost completely fantastical to think of, almost a complete and utter dream. But say they have it, and he's the head coach, and he keeps Andrew Berry. Do you think Browns fans feel better about Andrew Berry?
I said if you saw
I think the majority would feel at least a little bit better.
If you saw the two of them doing the press conference together, we have officially hired John Harbaugh, and Harbaugh's up there and says, I have, from afar, had the utmost respect for Andrew Berry and the operations that he runs here, and it is a dream come true to come to Cleveland and work with Andrew, who is ahead of the rest when it comes to analytics. I think fans would be like, all right.
I think in a lot of circumstances, I think you're right, because I think in a lot of different spots there would be fans, myself included. I got to be honest. You're watching body language. You're watching how long it takes him to answer a question. You're watching how long, like if they're asking, hey, Andrew's here with you. What do you think, Andrew? Any pause, anything like that, we're kind of keeping in the back of our mind for the future. I think that's the way we are as fans. That's the way I am, because there's not a lot to trust. But if it's John Harbaugh, I think you automatically say, well, if John Harbaugh didn't want him, he wouldn't be here. You have the pick of the litter. You have Las Vegas out there. They got the number one pick. Now, there's nothing there that ties John Harbaugh to Las Vegas. But you got the pick of the litter. You have a team that has the number one pick out there looking for a head coach. You chose Cleveland, so it must mean you like Andrew Berry. You're not just picking Cleveland because you're holding on to the last rung. If it were Mike McCarthy, you might wonder. If it were LaFleur or anybody, think of the big names. Sirianni, you might wonder. You may wonder. John Harbaugh, he's going to be 64 at kickoff next year. You said it yourself. Take it or leave it. This is what it is. I think a lot of fans can't believe Andrew Berry's still here after this last draft, which was good, but 5 previous drafts were either so or bad. They can't believe he's here. And so when they say stops, they believe that pulling out the stops would be, we're cleaning out the front office. We're cleaning out all of it. John Harbaugh is in charge of everything. He has the power. He has the final say. So it runs through John. And I think that's the way a lot of people perceive it.
Maybe Andrew Berry stays in the organization, but is, quote, elevated to a different role, and somebody comes with Harbaugh, or, I don't know, Glenn Cook gets promoted. I don't know. I don't know if there's any past relationship there. I do know there might be a Sashi Brown connection, between both organizations. Now, I don't know if Harbaugh likes Sashi. I know it was Sashi on the actual dismissal statement. It was Sashi Brown saying goodbye to Harbaugh, but people have said it was actually ownership that stunned the building.
I think, I just think that Sashi was, I don't think he cares that he just put his name on it.
That could be.
Yeah, to get heat off of, but the owner still makes the decision. So if they wanted to get heat off of Bisciotti, it probably isn't going to work if this thing goes downhill.
Well, that's some of the reporting, that he actually got a phone call, that Harbaugh got a phone call that he was dismissed. That's pretty crazy that you could be there for 18 years, win a Super Bowl. And here in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski came to the building, already knew. I mean, we've talked about whether it was mutual partner ways or whatever, but he came to the building, said goodbye to everybody, and Harbaugh didn't get that opportunity, according to the report. There's no real good way to do it. If there was a good way, if you're thinking about the best case scenario, then you're not doing it. So there's no real great way to do it. The best possible way is an amicable split or a mutual parting of ways. Well, it wasn't going to happen that way. So if you let go of John Harbaugh, it was bound to go down. It was bound to go down in an ugly fashion if that's the case. I probably would have tried to do it a little bit more diplomacy, but it ain't my football team. Now I have the possibility to hire John Harbaugh. I'm just asking, are there any stops for anybody?
Are there any stop signs? Like, is there anybody anywhere on this franchise that's too far for you to say, okay, no, that's it. Like, that guy's got to stay for John Harbaugh to come here? I don't think there is. And I also think if you were to introduce him, I think that the conversations about the ownership, I think that the arguing about the ownership are done. I think the arguing about whether or not they're an unserious franchise, you've heard a lot of that because usually a losing team is an unserious franchise. I'm sorry, their track record would show you. They're willing to do whatever it takes to find a guy that's going to help them. And that might be seen as desperate, but they're willing to do that.
But no problems throwing money at it.
Yes. So they've thrown their money at a lot of problems there. That would show you a serious franchise. Are they serious by going out and getting John Harbaugh and letting him run the show? That would be serious. Plus, you have the history that's there and the things that they were willing to do to try to hot shot this into winning. I got to tell you guys, I don't see a legitimate downfall. I could see them not being very successful. I could see that. But I don't think that anybody's going to look back in 3 years, say that it's just you get mediocre results, the team's not that great, and John Harbaugh at 67 is like, you know what? We're done here. I don't think anybody looks back on it. There's always going to be some, but anybody looks back on it in real life and say, I told you so. About John Harbaugh. I think you're a team that's struggling for credibility with your own fans. I think it's a team that's struggling to find the route that they want to take towards success, finding the right route to take towards success. And I think Jim Harbaugh would be a Hail Mary, but he would also be a home run if you hit him. And I just don't understand, even if they didn't do well, what the drawback would be. Like, I just, unless he came in here and he was totally Mike Holmgren about it and just came in at 10 and left at 2 and that was the end. And I'm sorry, you're out there on the field every single Sunday. They show you a million times on TV. It's your face. If they were to blow out the front office for you, that means it's your responsibility. I just can't see him coming in here and doing a Frank Reich in Carolina, where it's just, I'm going to take this job. The owner's going to pay me a lot of money, and I'm going to hurt my own legacy by taking this job. I don't think that John Harbaugh would do it. So if you get a meeting with the guy, I say it's all open. I think everything's open. 216-474-0092. If I'm wrong, you go ahead and tell me why I'm wrong. Also, with another name that was thrown out there this weekend, maybe we're just trying to put lipstick on a pig. And are we over-exaggerating the death of the quarterback? Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan. Peter & Company Jewelers in Avon.
But a torn right Achilles tendon. Wild Card weekend comes to a close tonight. Steelers and Texans live right here on 92.3 The Fan. Coverage tonight starts at 7:30. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
If you missed a moment in the show, use the rewind feature on the Odyssey app, which is also free. It's powered by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. You want a diabolical question? I'm going to give you one here in a moment. However, Caleb Williams, is he in the pantheon now?
All right, so that fourth down throw.
Is he in the 1% now?
That fourth down throw that he made is why he wasn't considered.
Oh, boy.
Andrew Luck coming out or Trevor Lawrence.
I thought he was throwing it away.
Right, but I remember his sophomore year, people were like, he could be that. And then, for whatever reason, his last year,
it was terrible
at USC.
They were 7-5. His offensive line was terrible. Remember, he was crying on the sidelines with his mother, which, I mean, it was like, you sure? And then last year, it's like, I can't believe they wasted any time with Eberflus on him. What the hell? Either way, go ahead.
His nail polish was brought up a bunch by
several times.
My buddies.
No, a bunch of people brought it up.
And you saw in that game, look, he made mistakes and he was not great all game, but holy cow, that throw that he made, we always say, hey, can make all the throws. Yeah, but how many guys could make that throw? That's why he went number one overall.
I couldn't believe it.
How many guys? I mean, seriously.
I thought it was like...
Aaron Rodgers, when he was in his prime, could make that throw. Mahomes could make that throw. Josh Allen. Isn't that the list?
Drop that in the... He does this thing.
Rolling to the left, too.
Which game
could
was
Lamar make that throw?
I watch him.
Maybe.
I watch him, and he's
5 guys in the world.
He looks like there's like Josh Allen. They're showing him up on TV right now, so he's the perfect example of this. Josh Allen escapes, and I know there's the one video of him at Wyoming where he's kind of running all over and then just sends it into a group of players and doesn't care. I watch Caleb Williams, and there's so many times I watch Josh Allen and other guys, and they escape and they run around, but it seems like there's a plan. It seems that Caleb Williams has zero plan, and it looks like he's boxed in, and somehow he's able to find somebody.
Do you remember in the Browns game?
Didn't Jaden Daniels do it last year?
I feel like Caleb Williams does not need his whole body. He doesn't even need his legs. He just needs a flick of the wrist to be able to do it.
That was.
And he did that. That is the difference. He did that against the Browns. Okay, he was down by like the 30-yard line, 25-yard line, and he scrambled and threw across his body. And remember I said it was like sleight of hand? Next thing I know it was a touchdown, and I'm like, what?
You're down 18 in the fourth. Go down the list of quarterbacks you have faith in that would complete a 18-point comeback in a quarter. It's the elites.
Right.
It's the elites. You think there's guys who are known for coming back and having big, like John Elway made a whole Hall of Fame career on having fourth quarter comebacks. But you look up and down the league, there's you would think Josh Allen, you would think Mahomes. Who else would you think? I mean, there's good quarterbacks out there. I'm like,
that currently in the NFL.
Sam Darnold's had a fine career ever since he got going with Minnesota a couple years ago. It's like, I wouldn't put, no, not a chance. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to start anything with you guys. Baker Mayfield, nope. Nope. Lamar, no. I got to tell you, Lamar in a playoff setting, nope. Joe Burrow in a playoff setting, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while.
Fits the right team.
And this is absolutely prisoner of the moment. I understand this because I'm going to ask you another diabolical question that's prisoner of the moment. But go down. Jalen Hurts, nope. Anybody else? Like Jordan Love? Well, Jordan Love, they came back on.
And it was so weird. I'm watching that game in the first half, and I always am so intrigued by
Stafford
quarterback. He couldn't scramble like that.
Yeah, true.
To that degree.
Right, because if we're doing it, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, but not this Aaron.
No,
good point.
Not.
Say what you were going to say.
15 years ago.
Say what you guys were going to say.
I love watching. It's funny how the mannerisms of all the quarterbacks are so different that when they show Caleb Williams, granted, they were down 21-3 or whatever, and he is just sitting there stone-faced, looking cold and miserable, way back of the action. Like, those guys just watch the game on the big screen, right? They can't possibly see the game sitting down like that by the warmers. And he's just sitting there, and I'm like, man, I would want to be up by the coaches. A lot of them don't do that. They just kind of sit far away. And it's almost like, I don't know if it's their way of meditating through the game.
Well, and you're conserving yourself, too.
Yeah, they can't be emotional.
Yeah, you have to be more cerebral.
They're not hanging out with their teammates talking, and like, it's a playoff game. He's just sitting there, and I'm like, man, he looks, when it comes to the observing the body and the mannerisms.
I think that's what's helped him. I think he's made a damn concerted effort here over the last couple of years. And it is absolutely, it's prisoner of the moment. Who knows what's going to happen next week? But my God, it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in a playoff game. To come back, to have that.
Seeing that, this is so different. And we've seen Jordan Love look awesome at times. But seeing that out of Caleb, now if I go, hey, would you be surprised if that dude wins 2 Super Bowls? You would be surprised.
All right, diabolical question for you. I got this from somebody on social media. Chargers lost last night, right? It's a diabolical question. There's no point in asking it. That's why I'm going to be quick with it. There's no realistic thing. Chargers lost last night. Listener named John asked, would you trade our 2 first-round picks for Justin Herbert? He's done it. He's young enough. He's everything you want. He hasn't won a playoff game. Just asking. That's what John, our listener, has this here. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to ask this in passing.
I am leaning no.
I wouldn't trade 2 first-round picks for him. I said I might.
Especially the Cleveland Browns can't now.
You would trade the...
Well, I could. They got 2 first-round.
Yeah, they do own those picks. Yes, finally. They can't do it. I'm
paying them.
The franchise. You can't do it as the franchise. You're the franchise that did the Watson thing.
He is only 27.
It's forever tarnished you to be able to do anything like that.
He is banged up consistently. Not his fault. His offensive line was so bad.
That's why I might trade one of the first-round picks. I need that.
Yeah, I would trade one.
I need CC Malinois or someone, man. I need some offensive line protection for him. He's going to get killed back there.
I don't think the Cleveland Browns can ever trade multiple first-round picks for a quarterback again.
I disagree.
You're going to have to be away from this for a while.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, yes. 216-474-0092.
If the Chiefs called you and said, hey, we're tired of Mahomes.
You don't think that there'd be 20% of the fan base, at least 20, that would go, oh, they're going to ruin him now. They're going to ruin this guy now.
Or why
it's not going to work out here now.
Why is Kansas City willing to trade him?
Yes.
That would be my question, but I'm going
I was getting to that in my little rant.
Why would Kansas City be willing to trade him? Yes, obviously. You wouldn't give up multiple first-round picks for Patrick Mahomes?
Not the Cleveland Browns.
And what? Just because of Watson?
Yes.
Don't let Deshaun Watson spoil.
I love
Do you
this
agree
right
with
now.
him?
Deshaun Watson has spoiled everything here since 2021.
That would make it even worse.
Don't let Deshaun Watson spoil it.
That would make it even worse.
The whole reason that we're in any of this stuff is because of Deshaun Watson and the contract and the trade.
That's true. You are right about that.
Hey, we did go to the playoffs.
And I'm glad I got that passion
Kevin might get a better job because of it.
You are
eventually.
Right. You are correct. And I would only be making it worse to let him impact a decision that would make us instantly better. Instantly better. You know the holes that were on that football team, and they finally caught up with him. But over the last couple of years, he's been keeping that thing afloat.
Cool, Ken. It still happened, and we know why we are where we are.
I love
and it
that
ain't because of the holes.
This conversation only exists because we are this immensely desperate.
Hell yeah!
To try and think about it. We're talking Mac Jones next year. We're talking Malik Willis next year. Trey Lance. Did somebody bring up Trey freaking Lance?
It's the reason that there are so many people putting such faith in a 5th-round pick.
It is. It is why. Yeah, that is 100%.
Wait, which Shador you're talking about? Shador.
Yes,
sorry, it sounded like a drunk when I said that.
It's the same reason that there was very little, but some people put faith in a 3rd-round pick in Dylan Gabriel. It's all because of Watson. It will all come back to Watson. You have so much of a black mark on your organization because of Watson.
That is right. You are right. That I will not fight you on. But I'm not going to let the memory of a bad trade, the worst trade in football history. I'm not going to let the memory of the worst trade in football history, even though I think some Vikings
he's on
fans
the
would
roster,
disagree.
so there is no memory. It's a current.
Okay. But I'm not going to let that memory and his boogeyman status hanging around the building stop me from trading multiple first-round picks again for another great for a great quarterback.
And you can do that, and then you get to that first OTA, and there's the boogeyman because he's on the roster.
I don't care. Yeah, watch a quarterback who's actually worth it. You watch a quarterback who's actually worth it. There's so few guys that I'm willing to argue that I give up a first round. I mean, I can't believe you're being this strident about this and going after me about it, because it's like, and it's Mahomes. You've seen firsthand. He's getting a stadium built for him, for crying out loud. They want him in the state of Kansas. It's Mahomes. There's only a couple of quarterbacks I would be willing to do it, and you know this. I wasn't willing to do it for Deshaun.
Right now,
I wasn't willing to do it for Deshaun. You are right. 100% right. I absolutely probably have. Absolutely probably. I have more faith in Shedeur Sanders. I'll admit this. I have more faith in Shedeur Sanders than I probably should, because of Deshaun Watson and that whole mess.
Me too.
I have more faith and hope in Shedeur because of that whole mess. 100%. Absolutely. If you and I were in Detroit, Michigan, I would probably be a lot more cerebral about this and go, you have to upgrade the position. But I would also know that I would say, I'm not going to double down on a bad decision and make it another bad decision. Like I say, as of right now, he is your best option. But if there was a Mac Jones conversation, fine. But because I'm so hopeful to get out of this whole thing that has been created, that they still have people in charge of, yes, I've put more faith in other quarterbacks than I should. Yes, 100%. I'm willing to admit that.
I'm abstaining from this conversation.
Why not?
Because I wanted Deshaun Watson, and
now
and I hope you're happy with
you got what you wanted. And now you got Owen and I yelling at each other. Actually, I didn't get that loud there.
This is really what
I didn't know he'd go from a top 5 quarterback to the worst in the league. That's all.
216-474-0092.
Anthony, he's one of the worst of all time.
Does the Deshaun Watson? It's the worst. Wait, are you talking which one?
I think his quarterback play since coming to Cleveland has been some of the worst of all time.
Because of what they gave up for him.
It is the worst trade of all time.
Because of what they gave up for him. Yeah.
It is the worst. It's done the most detriment to an organization in recent history.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it is Raiders level. It is Vikings level, going back to Herschel Walker or Jamarcus Russell or all of that. I mean, it is on those levels.
And I'll take you a step further. It's done so much damage to my psyche. I've actually come through on the other side going, well, you owe him $46 million next year. Let's see if he can pull the nose up on it himself.
At the end of the day, I go, who's the quarterback on the roster currently that I've seen play the best NFL football on an NFL football field? And it's Deshaun Watson. And I hope to hell that he's not the guy.
It's driven me to insanity. It has driven me to say things that I at the moment, I mean them because I'm emotional, and I can't believe I said it 4 hours later because of how desperate it's made me. Yes, that trade has made me unrealistically desperate for a bunch of different scenarios for the Browns. That is 100% fact. But I'm not going to let the bad memory, and I know he's still around, I'm not going to let that terrible decision get in the way of other decisions. Now, I will say that terrible decision gets in the way because I thought you and I were going to have a knockdown dragout last week. TA had said that he would give up the first round pick that the Jags gave us
for
Matt LaFleur, and I said absolutely not. I said we're in a hole because of the talent we weren't able to acquire in the first round. We need players. I don't know if there's any coach out there that's even a possibility that I would give up a first round pick.
I mean, we're just echoing the reports today from Schefter and others on LaFleur and them working to extend him in Green Bay. Does that necessarily mean a trade's off the table? Like, just because they're working on it, plenty of players, you work on extensions, and then if you can't come to the right price,
the extension could just end up being with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be. And just real quick, too, Browns have now confirmed McDaniel. They are interviewing McDaniel today.
Yes, today. They're working with McDaniel, or they are interviewing McDaniel today, which... That has been some people were. I didn't check social media.
If you get the job and you heard what just happened, I hope you realize.
Is he in town?
They're interviewing him.
Could you
I don't
imagine
know.
him being going into the building and hearing me and Owen yelling at each other about Deshaun Watson?
I mean, McDaniel's seen a lot. Okay.
Well, he has. He's been in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And certainly the Haslam's remember how they might have found him to be partially responsible for the Johnny mess. Like we have our.
Well, you're thinking Josh Gordon.
Well, yeah.
He's at least responsible for the trick play that wasn't legal.
That was an awesome play.
It was a preseason.
It was a pretty good play.
Yeah.
It was illegal, but hey, it's on them to call it.
Good play, yeah.
Which I told you in youth football, somebody tried to do it to us. And the other coaches were mad. I went up to him. I was like, I got this. And I went up to him. I go, hey, you Browns fan? He's like, of course I am. And I go, yeah, I just want to let you know, you remember that Johnny play? And he's like, yeah, of course, the dumb play. I go, yeah, it wasn't legal then. I can't imagine it's legal in youth football. And he goes, oh, that's a good point. Really nice guy. Wasn't outside my depth to go ask him.
Ken had to step in.
Show
his football prowess. He's really a football guy.
They want me to talk to the refs. I don't yell at the refs. I'm nice to the refs. We got too many. That's the problem. You got too many coaches who are mean to the refs in youth sports and high school sports. That's why we're running out of refs. What's the average age of an OHSAA football ref? Like 87 now?
Yes. They're either 87 or 19.
Yes. Yes. 216-474-0092. Let me get to Jake in Kentucky. Hello, Jake.
Hey, Ken.
Hi, Jake.
Good morning.
Morning to you, bud.
Just random questions since we're talking about it.
All right.
It's kind of been on my mind. I saw a post a few days ago about it. What if we hire Harbaugh? He comes in and he says, I'm starting Watson.
It would make me immediately feel better about Deshaun Watson.
Wow.
Same.
Okay. Wow. There you see. It's instant credibility to the fan base. He makes everything look better.
I agree with all that. It doesn't change the fact that it's still the worst trade of all time.
Absolutely the worst trade of all time. That's true.
What if Harbaugh comes in and says, hey, you got diamond in the rough there with Shedeur Sanders. He's like, I know it was miserable in the half he played against us when
even better.
He wasn't prepared adequately, but we saw some things. I can work with that.
Even better. Because I like Shedeur and I like his dad. Even
it would
better.
Shut me up.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It would shut me up pretty quickly.
Yep. He could come in and go, you guys were making mistakes from day one, having him throw the ball, boys. And I'm going to get this guy on track.
It'd shut you up about that thing. You'd find something else.
Oh, yeah. You'll find something else to troll people.
I would join Dr. Amy Rucker. I would join Real Xavier P. I would join Boog.
What's wrong with Real Xavier P?
I would join all of them. Lockstep.
Real Xavier, don't take shots at Real Xavier P. He was with us in the early days. He'll be with us in the end days.
I've met him. He's a good football man.
Plus, we're one tot away from each other, so I could bump into him somewhere, and it ain't going to happen.
Oh, my.
I'm not going to answer for the shots you take at Real Xavier P. By the way, social media reactions brought to you by
Scheibin Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
9:37 and 24 seconds for those scoring at home. Coming up in 5 minutes, some Galaxy brain for Browns fans, even though we just went through some. But how's even more for tonight's big matchup? Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan. They are your trusted residential
fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Want to talk Browns while you're at work? Baskin and Phelps, weekdays starting at 10 on 92.3 The Fan.
Mike McDaniel meeting with the Browns today. They're interviewing him. He's already disqualified from getting the job.
Oh, wait a second.
I did not realize that he went to Yale. Nope.
Whoa! I knew he went somewhere good.
In the words of Hulk Hogan, I think the vast majority of Browns fans out there are going to say, "That don't work for me, brother." I'm kidding.
As long as that's where they end.
Ivy League should not. Are we past the Ivy League arguments, right?
No, not as long as Andrew Barry's still here.
Damn it.
You're still in the middle.
Andrew played football.
Yeah,
He played at Harvard.
Doesn't matter.
But he played. That's the thing, is he played the game. He just happened to play we bring Ross Tucker on. Everybody likes Ross Tucker. Didn't he play at Harvard?
Did they like him when he was player Ross Tucker?
Where did Ross Tucker go to college?
Yeah, he went to Princeton or Harvard.
Princeton.
Princeton.
Am I wrong?
Princeton. My buddy played college football at Princeton.
Penn.
Yeah, Stefanski went to Penn. What's the matter with going to Princeton and playing college football at Princeton?
Nothing.
People like Ross Tucker.
Just tired of it. Want football guys.
He's a football guy.
One guy put down his head, run through wall.
They don't just have they don't have physics professors coach their football teams.
Kevin Stefanski.
Yale had a comeback.
Played football.
Yale had a comeback against Youngstown State.
Yes, they did.
Youngstown State's the biggest group of hard asses you're ever going to find. It's Youngstown. Yep. Yale came back and beat him. So a guy who went to Yale is disqualified.
I'd rather have a guy from Youngstown State because it's not an Ivy League.
I disagree with you.
This is.
I know you're being facetious, but Lord Almighty,
I'm seeing it all over the internet, Ken. Right now, they're writing in. They're saying that.
Are you ready for Galaxy Brain?
Yeah.
Can I full on admit this is Galaxy? Okay. Houston and the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing tonight, right?
Correct.
Who do you want to win?
Houston.
Owen?
Oh, Houston.
That makes three of us. Should we secretly be rooting, or openly even, should we be rooting for the Steelers so they hold on to Mike Tomlin? Just asking. I said it's Galaxy Brain.
Okay, how many times have we finished ahead?
I love how I say that, so it gives me the excuse to ask stupid questions.
So when we go, the guy that's never had a losing season, you want to keep him around?
But they're never going to be...
Have we ever finished ahead of the Steelers?
No.
Think about this.
89, I believe, was the last time.
You've never finished ahead of the Steelers while the station...
I believe that's it.
Yeah, because they don't have losing seasons.
Well, when we beat them, they had a home game because they were ahead of us.
Man, that's right. Damn it.
They won the division. Because they started off like 11-0 that year.
How do you finish 11-5 and not win the division in 2020?
So another team wins 12 games.
I know.
Or holds the tiebreaker over you.
Anyway. Okay, he's never going to be... You end up splitting the series with him somehow. Every year, you end up splitting the series out there. You beat them here, they beat you over there.
That's with Kevin Stefanski. He's not here anymore.
What, you think we're not going to get better because we fired Kevin Stefanski?
Who knows, man?
I didn't hear you fighting over Kevin Stefanski. You should have been fighting then. Why didn't you do that?
I wanted to give Kevin an opportunity to explore other options.
We were third in the division in 2020, second in 2023. Unbelievable.
This year, what were they?
They were last in the division. No, yeah, we were. Yeah, because they won 6 games down in Cincinnati. So is there a world where you live in where you root? No, you don't root. You pull for Pittsburgh.
So you're not worried that the Steelers could hire the next Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher? Like they've nailed it the last 3 times. Chuck Noll before that. They've nailed it the last 3 times. What are the odds they get it right a 4th time?
I don't think that they're going to fire him. Even if they lose, I don't think they're going to fire him. But the whole thing is, well, they could fire him if they lose. So if they win, they're definitely not going to fire him. They won their first playoff game in over a decade. We wouldn't have that last, like, oh, you had a chance to beat us, but we beat you, so we actually have a more recent playoff win than you guys do. The TJ Watt thing, now it's even 1-1. They both won a playoff game then. That goes away. But you hold on to Mike Tomlin. Do you believe that the Browns can get a better coach than Mike Tomlin? Do you believe that John Harbaugh is a better coach than Mike Tomlin? I'm asking questions here. That's all I'm trying to do. Josh and Berea, Galaxy Brain, yes or no? Are you rooting against them or are you rooting for them?
Oh, man, I am rooting against the Steelers every day of the week. I can't do it. It's in my, I grew up in Streetsboro, Ken. You should know how it is being a Browns fan in Streetsboro.
You grew up in the borough?
Yeah, 10 years of my life. I was in Portage Boy.
There is a lot. There are some Steelers fans out there.
I was the only Browns fan on my street, man. Gerald Drive,
really?
Shout out.
Really?
Yeah, dude, a lot of Steelers fans over there. Maybe it's changed. The Browns going up there.
I would say I got to tell you, I think it's a little bit more 50-50 than what maybe you would have said. All right, go ahead, Josh. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, guys, I know Owen's scarred by trading for quarterbacks, but screw it. It's time for the reunion. Bring back Baker.
Oh, God.
I watched Trevor Lawrence and I watched Justin Herbert.
Oh, that's enough of that.
That was Ken, Jeff.
Well, is he better than Shador? Is he better than Shador? Answer the question, Shador hater.
I'm done talking about Shador Sanders in today's show.
Oh, you're done, are you?
Yes. Because this is what you guys in the media do.
I can get you to talk about Shador right now.
You try to tear down these athletes.
So should Shador Sanders have any bit of a say on who the next head coach is? Oh, you just said no. So you're talking about Shador. Well done, Champions Post.
You asked me a direct question.
I asked you a direct question. You could have just said, I don't want to answer the question. That's what you could have said. Like it or not, buddy boy, and I know you don't like it, until they go out and get another quarterback, better be ready to fall in line. Shador talk. Mike McDaniel interviewing today. If they announce Mike McDaniel as the next head coach of the Browns, excited or not excited? Not excited.
I think it'd be fun to cover.
You didn't say excited or not excited. Excited or not excited, Mike McDaniel, Lima, answer now, go.
Excited to cover him.
Excited or not excited? Answer the question. You've already did because you're not saying you'd be excited. Oh, and excited or not excited?
All I know is in the fourth quarter,
be fun to talk about.
Okay, that's two. That makes it a clean sweep. Not excited. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. Thanks to Owen. Thanks to Meredith. We're back tomorrow, 6 to 10. Have a wonderful day, my friends.
I'd like to give a shout out to the Zach Gelb Show.
Okay.
I know that they are always on the go. They travel, they read, they sing, and they dance. Always take life as a risk or a chance. This is the end of my silly little rap. Thank you for paying attention.